Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll see what happens. We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I am a dissident.
Don't move. Move.
I'm saying no. Why you hear Palantir, 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 Palantir? It's not going to be stopped.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
Face off!
I am not a church boy.
Face off!
They're full-on vampires.
They hate our beef. They hate our beef. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is weak.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Hello, dissidents. Welcome, one and all, to a Sunday morning, a Super Bowl Sunday morning edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dobular, of course.
Hello.
How is everybody doing this morning? Glad you could all be here. Great crowd, as usual, to start the show. Even on these Sunday morning shows, people love politics on Sunday mornings. It's as American as apple pie. You know, it's also as American as apple pie, the Super Bowl, and it is Super Bowl Sunday, which explains the time change. So thanks, everybody, for being here. Russell, did you hear, this got swallowed in the news cycle, that RFK claimed that some Harvard scientists cured schizophrenia with the keto diet? You heard that one?
I did see that. I did see that. I started my keto diet immediately after.
Yeah, I tend to believe it, since I know from experience that the Atkins diet can cure dyslexia. And I know that because before I started it, I always called it the Tin Scat diet.
Did you?
Boom.
Did you?
That's our show, everybody. Thanks for being here. Those are the jokes today.
We'll be back on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I had quite an experience this morning, and I loaded in a few pictures from it.
Oh, yeah? You loaded in some pictures from the balloon ride? Oh, cool.
I went up, up and away in my beautiful balloon. So, yeah, pictures really don't do it justice, but it was pretty insane. That was pretty amazing experience. So yeah, I mentioned a couple years ago, or more than that now, when I was in India, a couple of women went on the balloon. I was like, I ain't going on that balloon. I was scared shitless to go on the balloon. And I've put pictures up on the Russ on the Road channel, and that's like the most common question I'm getting. Was it scary? Nah, I mean, I guess I was ready to do it by the time I did it. I was fine. Like look, man, when they sit you down and they show you like the picture of how you have to brace if it's a rough landing. Yeah, I mean, that's a little intimidating. You know, they got the picture of the people, holding on and squatting.
Yeah.
In case you come down hard. But, other than that, it's like, if you're going to do it, do it. There's no point being stressed about it.
So they show you pictures of how you have to brace. Now, the other thing, you don't know where you're going to land either. They don't know where you're going to land.
No, like okay, so the guy was right next to me. He was very nice. You'll see it when I drop the videos. He was pretty funny, that guy. The way they try to have some control over where they're going to land is by working the wind currents up and down.
Right.
So where the wind is, they'll kind of bring the balloon into it. And if they don't like where they're going, they'll try to drop down to get out of that wind current. That's as much as you could do, really, to try to control. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely more of an art than a science.
Yeah.
That having been said, none of the balloons landed really far away. Now, I'm sure you do get situations where, like, all of a sudden there's a wind gust.
Right.
And then you'd have to get clever. The scariest part was when they were explaining all this, because they're talking about, Yeah, there is forest, and
Yeah.
if wind bring by forest, no good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Go
No,
up,
no.
go away from forest.
It would freak me out a little bit, the not knowing where we're going to land. Like, what do you mean we don't know where we're going to land? What is this? Are these the 9/11 hijackers flying the balloons? Yeah, don't worry about it. We don't need to know where we're landing.
Do we need box cutters?
It's not important. Yeah, you'll see. You'll see what happens when we get up there. Yeah, but I guess it all went well.
Yeah, man. I mean, all the balloons. Okay, the way they do it too. Look, I booked with this company because they're the most reputable. They're like certified by the Aeronautics Association. Like they're the most safe.
Right.
And part of that, actually, I realized is their area out there, which, as you can see, is gorgeous.
Right.
It's all basically flat farmland and those mountains. As long as you don't crash into those mountains, like there's no place you could really land there.
Right.
That's
Where it's
going to
be a
be
big
that
problem.
hazardous. But these other companies, man, because the first night I got here, it's like the freaking cover of Sergeant Pepper's over there, man. It's a bunch of balloons coming up over the horizon. It's like 20 balloons flying over the city. And I actually filmed one that was coming down in the city, like, kind of going behind a house. So that seems to me inherently a lot more dangerous to be flying the balloons there, which they don't do.
Right. Well, Russ has already had Avengers Day. It is at 10:16 p.m. in Southeast Asia, but we are just getting started here. Still doing Q&A after the show, so everything remains the same. We are just doing the show 9 hours in advance because of the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl is a pretty politically charged Super Bowl this year for reasons that we will cover on the show, and I'm sure we'll have some more to talk about it on Tuesday for sure.
Well, that makes sense because I am in a communist country. It is I looked it up. I didn't even know this. Nobody ever talks about Laos. It is a one-party communist state with a Politburo.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I never knew that.
I did not know that. Yeah.
All right, so we got Jake in the booth. Round of applause for Jake working the booth today. And like I said, we will be doing Q&A after the show for our patron callers. Everybody's welcome to come and join the chat. That'll be on Rumble exclusively once we cover the news of the day. Let's get to some news. All right, this feels like a long time ago already, but this was pretty big when it happened. Breaking 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Feels like a lifetime already. Trump just posted a video on Truth Social that includes a racist image of Barack and Michelle Obama as monkeys. That's right. There's no bottom. So this was attached to the very end of an election conspiracy video. So here's the video in question.
Initiated by a court order, the Michigan investigation team obtained forensic access to a DS-200 tabulator, the machine that counts the votes. A Telit 4G wireless chip manufactured in Taiwan was discovered embedded into the motherboard.
Oh my God.
The voting machine tapes clearly indicate modem engagement and transmission of election data. Some of the anomalies that we noticed in the 2020 general elections, that 5 key states all stopped counting at a certain time in these key battleground states. These were,
as you can see here, clearly says Trump wins, and then they change it to Biden wins. It's blatant, in your face, no questions asked.
all where the software, Dominion machines, ESNS machines were used, the Smartmatic, the GEMS software. So when the vote stopped counting, and this has been noted in other countries
and
as
here
well,
comes, wait for it.
President Trump was significantly ahead. When reporting and counting resumed, there was a massive spike occurred that favored Joe Biden.
That's it. That's what was intercut there, right
Really?
toward the end. So yeah, you'll see it right there. There it is. So that was interspliced right at the end there. And so there was a lot of backlash to this overnight. But of course, we didn't get any high profile people commenting on this until the next morning because this came in late at night. So White House responds to backlash over racist posts depicting Obamas as apes. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt responded early Friday in a statement shared with Newsweek, dismissing backlash to the video clip, but not directly addressing criticism that the imagery echoed racist tropes. This is from an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King, she said. Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public. The Obamas declined to comment when contacted by Newsweek. Yeah, no, they are too cool for this. They are too above commenting on this. I'll get to that in a minute. But, you know, it was hard to find articles sort of chronicling the timeline here because so many of these articles were updated as the White House changed their story about how it got posted and are they sorry? Are they not sorry? Was it a mistake? Was it a staffer? Blah, blah, blah. So I put this in the Wayback Machine or archive.is so you could see, okay, that was posted with the original article, or maybe not the original article, but as of 8:37 a.m. on Friday, that Carolyn Leavitt statement was included in the reporting. After that, though, you had high-profile congressmen, senators like Senator Tim Scott in South Carolina praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it. So that was 9:43 a.m. So that was after Leavitt had already kind of come out and minimized it. Mike Lawler, 10:17. The president's post, he's the congressman from the Hudson Valley who almost certainly is going to lose re-election. The president's post is wrong and incredibly offensive, whether intentional or a mistake, and should be deleted immediately with an apology offered. Senator Roger Wicker. This is totally unacceptable. Republican, by the way. The president should take it down and apologize. Piers Morgan. Media people start chiming in. I sincerely hope President real Donald Trump didn't realize this 60-second clip he reposted last night didn't end with this vile racist imagery of the Obamas as apes. He should delete it immediately. Yes, backlash from almost all corners of the media. Walter Kern's response was, "It's funny, I always thought the left believed in evolution." No, that's kidding. That's not his response. It's just satire. And maybe that'll be his take tomorrow.
And Matt's response to that was,
it's an interesting
we're
point.
going to go to a break.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you know,
I can see where you're coming from. I see what you mean.
Yeah, I see what you mean there.
There is a lot of hypocrisy.
There is a lot of hypocrisy. That's right. Batyang Sargon, this is gross and racist. The president should delete it and apologize. The clip with the Obamas is that last 2 seconds of a minute-long clip on voting machines being hacked. So maybe Trump didn't watch it till the end. Maybe he didn't even post it himself. If that's the case, he should say so. Now, keep in mind, this was up for well over 12 hours. So if this was an innocent mistake where you didn't watch the whole video before posting it, which, you know, that's a mistake that people can make. But, you know, when you're the president of the United States, you should kind of be extra careful not to make that mistake, especially when you're sharing crazy bullshit like the kind of shit that Trump shares on a routine basis. But yeah, it was up for a good 12 hours. So President Trump finally did remove a racist video depicting the Obamas as apes. The White House initially defended the post, then blamed it on a staffer. That's right. So while the White House initially defended the video, that would have been Carolyn Leavitt's statement earlier that morning, it was met with swift backlash, including from Republicans who said it was unacceptable and racist and asked Trump to take it down and apologize. It was removed shortly before noon on Friday. A White House staffer erroneously made the post. It has been taken down, a White House official told NBC News. So, John Curtis, this is after they took it down, Republican from Utah. The post was blatantly racist and inexcusable. It should never have been posted or left published for so long. So here is Carolyn Leavitt answering questions on this from Laura Ingram. Can you really throw a staffer under the bus for this? So this is that evening. Let's take a look.
Issue after issue at the same time, and I know you've been dealing with this today, but Donald Trump's Truth Social post set off a firestorm online. I only noticed it this morning because I was writing, but it was a video that he had posted portraying Michelle and Barack Obama with an ape motif, and I guess there were other politicians who were portrayed in other animal motifs as an internet meme. Tim Scott, the senator, obviously African-American, said he was praying it was fake because it was the most racist thing he'd ever seen out of the White House. The president should remove it. Caroline,
somebody had a good response to that Tim Scott tweet. They said, "What's the second most racist thing you've ever seen from the White House?"
I know the president did remove it, deleted it, but it was up for, I think, 12 hours or something like that. How did this happen, and can you really throw a staffer under the bus for this?
Well, look, Laura, it was a meme that was posted by a staffer on the president's Truth Social account. It was from a Lion King video depicting, as you pointed out, different Democrats as different animals. I think Kamala Harris was depicted as a turtle in this video.
See, they're not all racist. Kamala was a turtle. There's nothing racist about a turtle. Come on.
Horrible.
We could have made her a hyena. We didn't. There were hyenas in the Lion King. That would have worked, but we didn't go there. They made Mamdani the hyena.
It was inspired by the innocent classic Song of the South, in which many characters appear as different animals.
The radical left, they closed that ride at Disney World, one of the most beloved rides that people used to enjoy. No more Splash Mountain. We can't have that. The left won't let us have nice things. No, it is funny because they did make Mamdani the hyena. They made Kamala a turtle. There were other animals in that video, though, that did kind of match people's thinking about the personalities. That's what kind of makes it a little extra racist. Like they made J.B. Pritzker an elephant because he's a big guy. They made that Olivia Giuliano, whatever her name is, the influencer, the Kamala influencer, the really cringe one. She's also very plus size, shall we say. They made her a pig. They made Harry Sisson a flamingo, because pink, effeminate. They made Adam Schiff a giraffe because he's got a big neck, right? So they kind of did lean into, I won't say stereotypes, but they did kind of, for the most part, match the politician to an animal that kind of represented how they were perceived. So, yeah, the fact that you made Obama's the apes, that lends me to believe that, it is kind of consciously racist, obviously. Not helping.
He spoke with lawmakers today out of respect for them, including Senator Tim Scott. The post was removed, but leave it to the leftist media, of course, to talk about this all day rather than talk about the fact that the Dow has broken over 50,000 points for the first time in our nation's history.
There was plenty more to talk about than that. How about your friend Howard Lutnick? We're going to get to that later. But hey, let's stop beating around the bush. Let's hear what the big man himself has to say about this. Here he is on Air Force One asking about the video. Did a staffer put it up? Do you apologize? And let's see what he says.
Mr. President, the media post that you took down earlier today, the White House says that a staffer sent it. Who sent it, and are you going to fire them?
No, I looked at it. I saw it, and I just looked at the first part. It was about voter fraud in someplace, Georgia. There was a lot of voter fraud, 2020 voter fraud, and I didn't see the whole thing. I guess during the end of it, there was some kind of a picture that people don't like. I wouldn't like it either, but I didn't see it. I looked at the first part, and it was really about voter fraud and the machines, how crooked it is, how disgusting it is.
Nobody wants to talk about that because I showed the Obamas as monkeys. Everybody wants to take the low-hanging fruit. Nobody wants to talk about the voter fraud. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Then I gave it to
nobody wants to talk about the fact that some random guy on the internet said that there was voter fraud.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So generally, they look at the whole thing, but I guess somebody didn't, and they posted, and we took it down, and we did it. But that was a voter fraud that nobody talks about. They don't like to talk about that.
I just have to say, as it pertains to that, lest we be accused of burying the real lead here, it is completely normal for Democratic districts to submit their votes later on in the night, since they tend to be the biggest population centers, which takes them longer to count.
Right.
Add to that the COVID year where you had a lot of mail-in votes. It makes sense they wouldn't be counted until the end of the night. Now, look, I don't think it's beyond the Democrats to try and steal a presidential race, obviously. So I'm not saying like you want to say there's other stuff. Okay, fine. But what you're talking about here, whereas all of a sudden a bunch of votes came in and they were mostly Democratic votes. Everybody saw that coming that night. I saw that coming that night.
Right.
I said we were live streaming. You know, this is way back on Facebook at the time. I said I would rather be Biden than Trump at this point, even though Trump was winning, because I said there's just not a lot of votes in from these major Democratic cities because they typically take longer. And yeah, in a year with a lot of mail-in votes, it makes sense they would take a lot longer.
We took it down as soon as we found out about it.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans are calling on you to apologize for that post. Is that something you're going to do?
No, I didn't make a mistake. I mean, I look at a lot of thousands of things. I looked at the beginning of it. It was fine. And they had that one post, and I guess it was a takeoff. By the way, a lot of people covered. If you look at where it came from, I guess it was a takeoff on the Lion King. And certainly it was a very strong post in terms of voter fraud. Nobody knew that was at the end. If they would have looked, they would have seen it. And probably they would have had the sense to take it down. But that was a takeoff on the Lion King. And a lot of people were covered on in different positions.
Oh, yeah.
But I spoke to Tim Scott. He was great. Tim is a great guy. He understood that 100%.
So I didn't make a mistake.
They made Joe Rogan a swallow. You figure it out.
So, you know, he did not apologize, and they're not firing the staffer, probably because there is no staffer, or it's not the staffer's fault. President Trump, says Benny Johnson, says he will not fire the staffer who posted the video containing the Obama meme, and he won't apologize. Good. Eric Doherty, breaking. Liberals are livid after President Trump told the fake news to shove it that he's not firing the staffer who accidentally posted the Obama ape meme. No, I won't apologize. I didn't make a mistake. It was a takeoff of Lion King. Never apologize, 47. Fire.
That's a great message for the kids.
Yeah, it's a great message for the kids. We'll talk about being a good role model. So here are some of the black MAGA influencers who are really put in a bind here. First, Terrence K. Williams decides to just say that it's fake, even though it's clearly not fake. Fake news alert. Trump didn't post this monkey video of the Obamas. Lying Democrats. It's not on his page. Fake screenshot. Of course, the community note there says it, in fact, was posted. So then later on, he says, if you're waiting for me to condemn Trump, stop waiting. And here's my full statement. I don't condemn Trump.
I have a mortgage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have an auto loan.
I don't condemn Trump because I genuinely do not care. And if we're being honest, I posted that entire jungle parody video last year and thought it was hilarious. What I find real funny is this. The same people who make racist remarks, who call me and other black Republicans, I won't say that for you too, but you can see it, who Photoshop raccoons on our faces and turn us into animals, somehow want me to be outraged and condemn Trump over a clip from a video that wasn't even about Barack Obama or Michelle Obama in the first place. That's one of the most racist things you could do to a black person. But you want to lecture me about racism. So the whole I don't want to hear, this is the whole I don't want to hear it from you defense. When they lock a guy in jail for criticizing Israel, Mahmoud Khalil. I don't want to hear Democrats talk about free speech because Biden censored the internet. You know, the whole, we'll do something worse and then we'll just say we don't want to hear any criticism because the Democrats are also bad. Very clever. This guy took it a step further. I guess this guy's running for Senate in Texas, black conservative. He makes his wife, or I don't know if he made his wife record this. It seems like it's kind of difficult to put together last minute, but he shares a video of his white wife talking about what a great family man Trump is. So he says in response to this Obama scandal, says, a lot of garbage has been said today about our president. Normally I'd respond the way an Apache pilot does, direct and forceful. But tonight I'm doing something different. I'm handing the mic to my beautiful wife, Emily, who is white. Definitely signaling that to the conservatives of Texas. I have a white wife. Here she is. Because this is who President Trump really is. And this is what he means to our family.
in awe of a lot of things. I see the grandfather that picks up my little girl and gives her a big hug. I
Wesley
see the
Hunt
person
married
that
a white
will write
woman.
Victorian
He loves
notes,
white
sign
people.
pictures and send them in the mail to
Blonde
her.
and white.
My
That's what
children
he
think
likes.
he's
He likes blonde
phenomenal.
white
He's
people.
a hero.
So
That's
vote
what
for
they've
Wesley.
seen of
Don't
him.
worry.
He's always treated Wesley and I with complete respect. Going to small town Iowa, that community that do believe in the conservative values. And
Loves
President
Wesley.
Trump, that
Wesley
was a
loves white
huge
people.
eye-opening experience for them. They got someone who they admire so much in that small town, and that's what he does to a lot of small towns. He gives these people a glimpse of hope of their what they feel is best for our country. They see him as that inspiration, someone that all their values they're instilling in him, and that's why I see when Wesley is with him that same thing happening that he's doing.
He
He's
calls
giving our
him
country
Ike,
hope and
and he
so much
calls me
inspiration
Tina
they feel
because he
just
knows
from the
he
things
hits
that
me
he's
every
doing.
now and
Like I
then.
said, he's been such a wonderful
But I
person
like
to our
that shit.
family. He's always asking about the
This
children.
video is
Like
part
I
of
said,
my
I see him
kink.
as this father figure, a husband, a grandfather, and my kids love him.
My kids love him. So yeah, Wesley loves white people and Trump loves Wesley. So vote for Wesley.
That was amazing, man.
Yeah, he shares that after the Obama video. Like, let me just hide behind my white wife. Normally I would say something, but I don't know. I don't really have the amount of shame to actually debase myself and defend Donald Trump over this. So I'll just put out there that he's a great guy. He loves me. He
Hey,
loves
you're
my
white. You
white
say
wife.
something.
Yeah, you say something. Yeah, go ahead. You handle this. This guy, you talk about a really pathetic move. Reverend Jordan Wells, breaking. Donald Trump just dropped a hilarious video mashup with the Fresh Prince. This proves once and for all Trump isn't racist. That's just another Democrat hoax. Share if you agree. So I guess Trump did a cameo in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in the day, and this guy shared it, presenting it as a Donald Trump tweet, which in all my research, I could not find any evidence that Donald Trump actually tweeted this video out. I'm assuming this would be pretty huge news if in response to the scandal about making fun of the Obamas as monkeys, he posts as an I'm not racist, mea culpa, a clip of
that would be everywhere.
That would be pretty much everywhere. So in fact, this almost certainly did not happen. You could also tell it didn't happen because the screenshot shows it happened 1 minute ago, which what are the odds? He caught it within a minute. So this guy goes out of his way to come up with fake videos, not a fake video, but a fake Truth Social post of Trump on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to try and prove that, no, he's not racist. Not racist. But then you just have like good old fashioned morons like Viva Free just riding that anti-woke train till the very end, I guess. Why get off now? If you are one of the people who rush to social media to virtue signal hard at how quote unquote racist Trump's truth post was, no, that's not racist at all. No, Barack and Michelle Obama as monkeys. No, not at all. And how righteous and tolerant you were for calling it out before you even understood what happened. Congrats. You look like buffoons. No, my friend, I think you
to who?
Like, but yeah, to who? To who? How is calling that racist virtue signaling our tolerance? Like this is the anti-woke mind virus. It just a complete allergic reaction to anything that to any episode in which there is actual clear racism on display. To feel like, no, you can't actually call racism what it is because you're just virtue signaling. You're just doing that to score points. Really? You think the senator of Utah is scoring a lot of political points by calling out anti-black racism? How many black people vote for the sitting senator of Utah? I mean, maybe what, 100? Like literally probably less than 1,000. There's hardly any black people in Utah. Think of how many black Republicans there are in Utah. So what, he's doing that to virtue signal? No. You got to be able to call it as you see it. This was a pretty embarrassing in a string of recent embarrassments for the White House. This was really quite something.
Yeah, Tim Scott, where's the upside for him?
Right.
Tim Scott's whole gig is running cover for these guys.
Right.
He's not, he's the less shameless Brian Donalds. What did Donaldson? What did he say?
It's funny. Didn't we hear something about, did he say anything? I don't know. I didn't see anything from him.
He just like, I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
I'm not coming anywhere near that.
I'm gonna adopt the Matt Taibbi pose when the Epstein files come out. Just leave that alone.
This is boring.
It's
the
boring.
story is
That's
boring.
what you should have said. It's a boring story.
Okay. In all honesty, I think in all likelihood, whoever posted it, and it probably wasn't Trump, did not watch to the end. That would be my guess. So at that point, the real story is that they decided to defend it and double down and triple down and keep it up.
Yeah, they left it up for
until finally. That's like if he had just said like, "Oh yeah, I didn't see the end. Yeah, of course, that's terrible. We take it down. My deepest apologies." I mean, it would be a story, but not much of one. The story is that they didn't want to take it down. They got forced to take it down, and then they send out Carolyn Levitt, plastic surgery victim and epic sugar baby, to demonstrate once again she has no bottom that she will not sink to. That's how she got the job. I'll say this: she's very good at what they need her to do, which is to be completely unflappable no matter what bullshit she has to sell.
Oh, yeah.
And especially being a sugar baby. She has quite a bit of pause for, somebody who, is like one step above, like an Epstein bride for her husband. Incredible maturity and ability to handle what I think no press secretary has ever had to handle literally in the history of the job. I don't think anyone has ever had to go out and peddle as much bullshit as she has had to in this amount of time. Nothing phases her, man. Nothing phases her. Like racist memes, nothing in the Epstein files. Pretty much everyone in the cabinet is a pedo. Nothing, man. Nothing phases her. But that's all of a piece, man. Like, you got to be a certain kind of person to go get a bunch of plastic surgery and marry a guy almost, like 40 years older than you. Right. Well, oh, what? That's for love? No, man. Like she peddled her ass to that guy. You got to be a certain kind of person to be that sociopathic, like to be that. Yes, I'm going to marry a rich old man and I'm going to have a lot of money. All right. I mean, if you're willing to live like that, wake up every day in that reality, what won't you do? Perfect press secretary for them.
Well, yeah, that's a perfect press secretary profile for anyone, especially these guys, because you have to really be quite shameless.
Is above and beyond, man.
Yeah.
This is above and beyond.
I mean, as for the post,
what they need someone to do.
Yeah, I think what probably happened, like, I think you're right. Like, if I had to bet, I would say what probably happened is, first of all, I think Trump did see the video and then send it to a staffer. Trump probably didn't watch the entire video.
I don't think he saw that.
And then he sent it to somebody and said, "Here, post this." Now the staffer figures, all right, if the president wants it posted, then I guess we're just going to post it. But the staffer probably didn't check it either. It could be that nobody really checked it thoroughly. It also happened late at night, which makes it a little less likely that a staffer was involved at all. Possible. I think it could be that Trump just posted it without realizing what it was. Like he just saw, oh, election fraud. Okay, post.
Yep,
Maybe he didn't send it to a staffer. The fact that it's so late at night leads me to believe maybe there was no staffer involved. Either way, though, I don't think he intentionally posted that because I think he would realize, okay, I don't need the headache of doing this, especially since he really wants people focused on this whole topic of 2020 fraud. So I don't think he would intentionally put out that video alongside something that's going to like distract from that. Who knows? Who knows? How can you get in their head? What we do know is it stayed up for half a day, and they didn't take it down until they realized they absolutely had to. And even then, he won't say sorry. No, I didn't make a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. And the other part of this story, though, because I mentioned, the Obamas had no comment. They didn't comment on this because, they are just too above the fray to get down in the mud and weigh in on this. And this does speak to part of the problem with Obama. He's too self-absorbed to do what is politically advantageous / necessary. He could have gotten a real own in, not against Trump necessarily, but on all of the Republicans who are coming out saying how horrible this is. What if he came out and he said, to all of the Republicans who are like denouncing this as if it's this horrible thing that they never saw coming, save it, because you've spent the last 10 years of your life enabling this guy and his nonsense. That would have been a very powerful political statement, especially going into a midterm year. He could have really made them eat shit. He could have rubbed their faces in shit. Instead, he'd rather be no. I'm constitutional law professor turned president and now former president Barack Obama. I don't get down in the mud. I think he should have said something. I think he should have said exactly what I said there, which is you should just point out for all of these Republicans offering fake apologies. Oh, yeah, well, no, we didn't realize that Donald Trump was a racist until this morning. How horrible. How horrible. I think he could have made hay out of it. And I think if the stakes are as high as you keep saying they are, then why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Because you have a chance here to get a real dig in, not just against Trump, but against all these people running down ballot, many of whom are very vulnerable this year. So I think it would have been a good political move, but I think his ego is just too big for that.
Obama has always been uncomfortable going into territory where he has to deal with his race. Whenever he's done it, it's been very calculated and very strategic.
That's what I mean. This is an opportunity to do it in a very strategic way.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing that's tended to make him uncomfortable. He's only done these things when he was president and in his post-presidency in a very stage managed way. It was always very stage managed. His famous speech on race.
Well, sure, of course.
He was running. It was always the Trayvon Martin. If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon. It was all very managed. And hey, realistically, we're not Obama fans here. But yeah, man, being the first black president definitely put him in a box in a way. You can't be the angry black man, right? So I think that forces a certain caution on you, to be fair. You saw this with Bill Clinton when he got out of the White House, that he really lost his touch. And so did Obama. Like that whole, Kamala's have a problem with the brothers. That was ham-handed. Like classic Obama would never have handled it that way. It was like he so clearly has lost the political instinct. Here with something like this, I don't know, man. I think it's easy to say that they should, not knowing what it's like to be in a position where that would happen to you. I don't know, man. Like I could see feeling like, man, I don't want to reduce myself to that. Like I don't want. I'm not even getting into that. I see what you're saying, but I could see why you'd feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think a tit for tat with Trump might be reducing yourself to that. I think, look, we're going to hear all year that these are the most important elections of our lifetime. Okay, so if that's true, and you have, a good number of Republicans who are politically very vulnerable, like Mike Lawler is very, very vulnerable. Why not quote tweet him and say, listen, nice try, man, but fuck you. Something to that effect. He doesn't have to word it like that. Like, look, if this is really important, if these midterms are really important, then you have to play to win. And to your point, Barack Obama comes out and browbeats the brothers for not getting excited about Kamala, right? He's willing to use his race in that way to browbeat black people who won't vote for Kamala Harris.
Well, look,
why not do it this way? And you don't even have to get into you don't even have to engage with Trump. You don't even have to make this, a sort of affirmation of your worth as a black. You just say, look, you're condemning Donald Trump's racism now as if you didn't see it coming for the last 10 years. Nobody buys this. This is insincere. So save your goodwill because it's fake. Something to that effect would have had a lot of political potency in a year where, yeah, man, they look. Certainly, the Democrats know this is, they're heavily favored to win. They certainly understand how existential a year this is. They don't take the House. Like, if they blow it and they don't take the House, at that point, the Republicans have the green light to basically rework our entire election system to the point where the Democrats will never win again. They might even do that before the election. They might not even have that chance in November. But if they blow it this time, it's over. It's over. It's a one-party state. So given those are the stakes, why not do it? That's all. Like, why not? Why not? Because I think he's more obsessed with his own image of himself, and he feels like he is above that. And I think if your real concern is the country and the people, that would have been a time to let some of that pretense go and just go for the throat politically.
Well, you want to talk about what Obama will not do. That really would be to be on point and just blow the joint up, would be to call out people like Tim Scott. Who did you think you're working for? Who did you think you were promoting? Who did you think you were covering for? If he specifically went after the black Republicans who backed Trump, you want to talk about forcing a reckoning. You want to talk about forcing a conversation. That's a place that Obama would never go in a million years. But you want to talk about something devastating. That would be devastating if Obama opened up that conversation, but he never would.
Yeah. Yeah. And he still has more political capital than people think. You know, they run these hypothetical polls of if it were this person versus that one. He beats Trump by at least 10 points every time. So, like, you're in a position to make a point like that. All right. Kenman G says Caitlin Collins' rapid rise is due to the rapid rise she gets. Oh, no, these are old. Sorry. Those are from the last show.
I was going to say, that sounded familiar.
That's an old one. Let's see. Jake, are these new ones? Just let me know in the private chat if you can, if these are the new ones or if some of those are old. In the meantime, Russ, why don't we take some super chats?
Okie doke. Me shoot skeet. Thank you, man. Super sticker. Kuznetsky Bassane, Epstein files equals Great Reset to CBDC. You know, I don't know if that's the upshot of the Epstein files. There are other things that point in that direction. Great Reset to CBDC and Panopticon. We're in the Panopticon, my friend. We've been in the Panopticon. Nong, nong, nong. Kid Rock's PDF Palooza canceled over shortage of PDFs. Yeah, okay, man. Nobody wanted to do that thing. Axel Strife, isn't Epstein Island just a Kid Rock? Yeah, you could look at it that way. Craig,
somebody tweeted that out. Was that you? Or are you the person who tweeted that? I saw that tweet. I forget who did it though.
Michael Tracy wants us to believe he took a totally normal week-long hiatus after an avalanche of data that contradicts his analysis to play Zelda and to double down on nothing to see here. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Listen, man, I can't prove this. Of all legal disclaimers, I have no proof of this. If you needed patrons, if you needed people who actually want to subscribe to your work and give you money for it, you could not act this way. That's a man who gets funded by somebody. I'm not saying who. I'm not saying he's getting Israel money. I don't really get that sense. He's getting somebody's giving him money, man, or that guy would be living in a cardboard box. Who the fuck? Who subscribes to that guy? You look at his numbers. His numbers are terrible. They always were. They always were, even before the Epstein thing. Now, who's giving him $5 a month, right? Like, what normal person is wanting to support Michael Tracy's work? Not enough for him to support himself. So if you needed whatever your principles are, whatever, man, if he needed to keep the lights on by actually getting readers to support him, he couldn't do what he's doing, man. Somebody's giving him money. That's my opinion. I don't know that. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think in terms of him going away for a week, I think, and I've said this to people too, I think I've always known this about him, that he is just a natural born troll. So I think he just stayed off just so that people would want him back. That's my guess. That's my guess. It's like, hey, I'm going to stay off so people start talking about me. I think it was, I think the guy's a natural troll.
Maybe. Methy Lenblue. Love you guys. This is an awesome Sunday surprise. Rex. Is that Rex Jones?
Is that Rex Jones? Hey, Rex. How's it going, man?
What's up, man? Thank you, brother. That kid Pulley. Joe Rogan having friend in the files has compromised him. I don't care what anyone says about Joe being popularist for people. He is populist for the oligarchs. He is Peter Thiel's butt boy. He sure as hell is. That's all. You know, it's funny, man. All these people that he's been giving a soapy hand job to on that fucking show are coming out in the Epstein files. But how long have I been going on about Andreessen and Rogan, man?
Someone put a meme out that was like, just doing a collage of guests in the Epstein files. So to be that, for what it's worth.
We were ahead of the curve on that beat and took a lot of shit for it. Michael in Taiwan. The balloon wasn't made by Boeing. You're safe. Yeah, they don't have them over here. Russ. Technically, I think Laos is considered a transitional socialist state. Stay safe, you and Keaton. I mean, look, they have a one-party communist government that has a Politburo where they only have internal elections within the party, just like China, just like the old Soviet Union. So I don't know what you mean. It looks like a pretty communist state to me, unless you're getting into like those internecine debates among communists about what communism is. But for all effects and purposes, yeah, man. I mean, it's a one-party communist state run in a kind of classic way with a Politburo where voting only goes on within the Communist Party. That's it. There's no general election here.
All right, let me take some Rumble rants over here. Now we got them. Thanks, Jake. Imagine the aliens land in the U.S. Take us to your leader. Holy fuck, this planet put a regard in charge. That's some 7D shit. Let's get the fuck out now. Thank you. A French hospital was reportedly forced to evacuate in dramatic scenes after medical staff discovered an unexploded World War I artillery shell stuck in a man's rectum. Wow, that's a story.
No, is that true?
Is there a connection between Bohemian Grove and the elite sex pedo Luciferian club? Well, possibly. I mean, maybe Rex can answer that. Is Rex still in the chat? His dad was there.
Yeah.
His dad's seen it all.
He was there. He's seen it up close.
Thoughts on the claim that the Epstein is the bone collector serial killer of New Mexico? Have not heard that one yet, but we have all kinds of exciting claims to dig into. Vienticus Prime, everything's a scam, everything's a lie. Keir Starmer's chief of staff, Morgan McSweeney, just resigned. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, there was a whole thing. There's a whole write-up about how the Epstein files are actually causing a lot of like political tumult in Europe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
But not here. Here, they just say, yeah, fuck you. What are you going to do about it? Khan, Hank Hill, you stupid redneck. Thank you. Raven Laz, the keto diet only works if you supplement it with consistent exercise and weekly consumption of the chocolate starfish. That's the secret. Okay. All right. Let's move right on along to segment number 2.
Okay. So Timu Robin, otherwise known as Joseph Gordon-Levitt, went to Washington this week, but it was not as eventful as the time Jimmy Stewart did it. There's Chris Manahan. Zionist Nepo baby Joseph Gordon-Levitt, together with the Center for Countering Digital Hate, went to Capitol Hill this week to lobby for the repeal of Section 230. Social media has led to a rise in extremism and conspiracy theories. Eliminating internet freedom is the solution. The Sunset Section 230 Act was introduced by AIPAC-funded senators Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin and is sponsored by AIPAC-funded senators Chuck Grassley, Sheldon Whitehouse, Josh Hawley, Amy Klobuchar, Marsha Blackburn, and Richard Blumenthal. This move to eliminate internet freedom by repealing Section 230 follows the U.S. government banning TikTok to suppress criticism of Israel and forcing its sale to a cadre of investors led by pro-Israel IDF megadonor Larry Ellison. Repealing Section 230 has long been a goal of the Anti-Defamation League and the Israel lobby. All right, so here's what he had to say. He's very passionate about it. They all are, actually.
What Section 230 did to bring about the birth of the internet. That was 30 years ago. And I also understand how the internet has changed since then. Because back then, message boards and other websites with user-generated content, they really were more like telephone carriers. They were neutral platforms. But that's not how things work anymore. Today, the internet is dominated by a small handful of these gigantic businesses that are not at all neutral, but instead algorithmically amplify whatever gets the most attention and maximizes ad revenue. And we know what happens when we let these engagement optimization algorithms be the lens that we see the world through. We get.
All right, I'm just going to point this out because this came up with the Spain story too. They give away the game by saying that the problem is algorithmic manipulation, which I agree with. I think every person watching right now would love to see a law that does not allow the companies to rig the game. Go back to the way it used to be before they rigged it. Now, CNN used to get what? 1,000 views on YouTube. That was organic. Now they get a lot more views because the algorithm pushes that, and they tweaked it so that independent journalism doesn't get as many views. Yeah, man, I would love neutrality. I think neutrality definitely favors our corner of the internet. History shows that. The fact that they say the problem is algorithmic manipulation, and they don't just say, we want to outlaw algorithmic manipulation. Instead, their solution is to restrict speech on the internet, tells you that's what they're really after. They're using the reality of the algorithmic manipulation as a red herring to distract from what their actual agenda is, which is speech control. If you really were just worried about the manipulation, that's what you would want to address. You'd say you want a law that you cannot manipulate the algorithm, which would actually make sense. If you're saying, well, they were more like phone carriers, okay, so pass a law that forces them to go back if you want the protections of Section 230, which give you you don't have the liability of a publisher because you're not publishing, so you're neutral. Then you have to be neutral. You have to be neutral, other than regulating, illegal speech on the platform, threats, that kind of thing, drug dealing, whatever. That's it. But they never call for that.
Get a mental health crisis, especially amongst young people. We get a rise in extremism and a rise in conspiracy theories. And then, of course, we get these echo chambers. These algorithms, they amplify the demonization of the other side so badly that we can't even have a civil conversation. It seems like we can't agree on anything. And yet, one of the only things that the American public seems to agree broadly on right now, left, right, and center, Republicans, Democrats, independents, we all agree that we don't trust these big tech businesses, and we don't like the influence they're having on our lives and the lives of our kids. Well, if we want to do something about that, the right first step is to sunset Section 230. It's not going to solve everything, but it is the right first step.
Hang on. If it's about the kids, then why isn't the right first step to do what Spain is talking about doing? Not part of what they're talking about, I agree with, not the other part of expanding definitions of hate speech. What Australia's done, what England is talking about doing, many countries are moving in this direction. This is what I'm saying. They're giving away the game. You know why? Because in the end, these tech platforms will really go berserk if the enormous American market decides to ban social media for under 16s, because that is billions and billions of dollars lost. So they don't want to actually take young people off the platform. They want to transform the platform into something that doesn't criticize Israel. Now, Manahan there says a few things, some of which are verifiably true, some of which are not. I don't really know anything about Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Why would I? Who cares? Who the fuck is this guy anyway? But in regards to what he's saying, yeah, he's from a Jewish family, nepo baby, kind of like he has a grandfather who was a director. His father was the news director of a Pacifica radio station at one point. They sound like they were basically like Jewish libs of that generation, like Jewish lib activists. Is he a Zionist? Look, I could be wrong. I dug into it as much as I could. As far as I could see, he doesn't say anything about it at all. I could not find one statement from him one way or the other on that subject. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I couldn't find it. But a lot of opinions on this. Jake Shields, they want you in jail for asking for arrests in the Epstein case. Yeah, I think that's part of it. Propaganda and company, washed up actors always gravitate towards Zionism. Now, again, I don't know if that's what it is, but you know what? The fact that he doesn't speak out about that genocide makes it more pointed that he does speak out quite a lot about other countries, just not Israel. I'm a Jew. My grandparents' families immigrated to the U.S. in time, but their extended families were all victims of genocide. Before entering World War II, the U.S. stood by for too long as the Nazis committed atrocities. We cannot stand by and watch genocide happen in China today. So as somebody who does declare his Judaism and his Jewish roots, although his parents were not religious, but clearly, culturally attached to it, they were founders of like a Jewish social justice organization. So, very culturally Jewish. So you won't speak out on the genocide that you would probably have the most authority to speak on. So taken as a whole, the impression I get is he's a fucking idiot. He's a very typical moronic actor who thinks he's smarter than he is and is being manipulated by people for ends that he scarcely understands. That's the impression I get. I could be wrong. But who really cares? That's not really the important part of the story. So Lindsey Graham, I mean, of course. And this is 2024. It's got to be more money now from AIPAC, over $1 million. Dick Durbin, of course, over $1 million. See, it's bipartisan. Anytime they're agreeing on something, be scared, be afraid, be very afraid. Now let's get away from the sideshow of this regarded actor going on about things he barely understands. Let's look at the real architects behind this. So this is Sarah O'Quinn from the Center for Countering Digital Hate. And very much like Levitt, they're very on message. Won't you think of the children? They're going with that angle. Won't you think of the children?
Sarah O'Quinn. I'm an attorney and director of public affairs for the Center for Countering Digital Hate. CCDH is a watchdog organization that since 2019 has thoroughly researched the hollow claims made by social media companies that they are keeping users safe. We've had industries that cause consumers harm before. For decades, the tobacco industry denied that cigarettes were harmful and concealed internal research showing its products were both addictive and deadly. But the difference between big tech and big tobacco is that Congress never gave tobacco companies blanket immunity. Section 230 allows social media companies like Meta and X to lie, confuse, and conceal with impunity. It has not just created legal immunity, it has created a culture of impunity and indifference to harm. Our research has revealed that social media companies fuel violence, serve content glorifying self-harm and encouraging illicit drug taking by children, and enable scams. The reason is simple. Safer products would mean less money. And owners like Mark Zuckerberg will not accept any impediment to their ability to amass even greater fortunes by exploiting Section 230 and their own users. In 2024, consumers reported losing a record $12.5 billion to scams, according to the FTC. Social media plays a huge and rapidly growing role. Facebook is the most common platform used by scammers. In fact, we now know that Meta's internally admitted to themselves that 1 in 10 of every dollar of revenue came from ads from scams and banned goods. Yet Meta has done little to stop this. While Americans are losing their homes and their hopes of a dignified retirement, these companies profit lavishly. And Section 2...
That is so manipulative. Like, yeah, aren't you mad that people are scamming on Facebook and also you have no money and that's all connected? Scams are illegal. That's illegal. That's already illegal. You want to say that they should be held more accountable for policing scamming on their sites? Completely separate issue. The idea that you're going to use that to reinforce an argument for censorship, but this is pretty typical of the breed.
230 once again prevents accountability. Americans, as we've been hearing today, are losing their sons and daughters. Today, you have heard from parents who are living with unimaginable devastation. I am someone who has 20 nieces and nephews. This is personal to me.
Oh,
this is not innovation.
I'm shocked you have not been able to find anyone who wants to impregnate you. I can't imagine.
I have 20 nieces and nephews.
I can't imagine why such a charming, bloodless freak as yourself cannot find a man.
Not protected speech. It is immoral, unjust immunity from the rules that apply to every other company in America. The Sunset Section 230 Act that was introduced by Senators Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin sets a deadline to end this outdated blanket immunity and gives Congress 2 years to replace it with a framework that protects users. It is time for Congress to put Americans first. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So they're trying to get a moral panic going. They're trying to get a good old-fashioned moral panic going. As I've made clear, I agree with banning social media for under 16s. It's very revealing that they're not suggesting that, especially when legislation like that is sweeping the Western world. It tells you that even as they say they are horrified that these companies put profit first, they're putting the profit of those companies first by not proposing a ban like that, by instead proposing what is their real goal and what is the real goal of the ADL that her organization works with is to TikTokify the entire internet, to do to the entire internet what Ellison did to TikTok. Now,
right, like the idea that you can't regulate, like yeah, sure, you could do more to regulate these companies to make them more accountable. What's that?
You're really loud.
I'm loud? All right. Here, I'll move the microphone back. Yeah, you could certainly do more to regulate these companies in terms of like, what they have to do to police scamming and like general like illegal activities, drug dealing, whatever.
Right.
The idea that the only way to do
laws
that,
about. Yeah.
Right. Like the only way to do that is to repeal Section 230, which would then subject every user on every platform to extreme censorship is just nonsense. It's just nonsense.
Well, because that's the goal. That's the goal. And won't anyone think of the children? It's a typical ploy for people with unscrupulous motives.
Exactly.
Now look, the Center for Countering Digital Hate. I knew I had heard of it. As soon, there was a guy who used to do reporting. His name was Matt Taibbi. In happier times, and not even so long ago. This is October 2024, and the reason I remembered it so well is we actually covered this article at the time. Election exclusive. British advisors to Kamala Harris hope to kill Musk's Twitter. England, not Russia, is the culprit in a real foreign election interference story, as the leaked stateside plans of an advisory group with close ties to Prime Minister Keir Starmer show. This is actually a British organization. In an explosive leak with ramifications for the upcoming U.S. presidential election, internal documents from the Center for Countering Digital Hate, whose founder is British political operative Morgan McSweeney. Is that the one who just resigned over the Epstein files?
I believe, according to one of our super chatters, at least. I had not seen that, but yes, I have every reason to believe that's true.
Now advising the Kamala Harris campaign, show the group plans in writing to kill Musk's Twitter while strengthening ties with the Biden-Harris administration and Democrats like Senator Amy Klobuchar, who is a co-sponsor of this bill, who has introduced multiple bills to regulate online misinformation. Klobuchar's office declined repeated requests for comment. And they included the meeting notes that had leaked, and you can see highlighted kill Musk's Twitter, to order shrimp salad for 50. And then U.S. policy engagement, set up meetings with Klobuchar's team. So all this was in place. They thought they were going to do this through Kamala. Now, this is the funny thing. At the time that this was written, and we certainly covered it from that point of view, the assumption was at least Trump will be better about this, right? At least he'll be better about this. It was very clear that if Kamala got in office, organizations like this were going to be in office with her, and that they were going to regulate the internet in that lib kind of way, and Trump would put a stop to that. But it doesn't look like he's going to put a stop to this, as we will see. The Center for Countering Digital Hate is the anti-disinformation activist ally of Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour Party and a messaging vehicle for Labour's neoliberal think tank, Labour Together. Both the CCDH and Labour Together were founded by Morgan McSweeney, a Svengali credited with piloting Starmer's rise to Downing Street, much as Karl Rove is credited with guiding George W. Bush to the White House. The CCDH documents carry particular importance because McSweeney's Labour Together operatives have been teaching election strategy to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, leading Politico to call Labour and the Democrats sister parties. Now, in a follow-up article, they reported that the Trump camp was promising to investigate them. Trump camp, British censorship group to be investigated from all angles. Britain's Center for Countering Digital Hate will be at the top of the list of Trump investigatory targets, sources say, after Disinformation Chronicle racket story. So according to them, in response to that previous story that Taibbi did with Paul Thacker, the Trump campaign said that was going to be a priority. They were going to investigate this organization. Do you think that if Daddy had it in for this organization, you would have Lindsey coming out there and co-sponsoring this bill? That you would have these Republicans lining up to sponsor this bill? It was all a lie. The basic rationale that Trump would block these kinds of people, at the very least, if you didn't have Kamala, these people wouldn't get inside the tent. Total nonsense. Total nonsense. So what's Taibbi doing? Is he covering this? I don't know. He's up. Tweeting about how the Epstein files are too boring for him to cover. That's what he's doing. You know who else reported on this organization? Michael Schellenberger. So he must be up in arms about this, right? He must be writing about this week. Oh, no. Minnesota shooting victim was armed and interfering in an ICE operation days before his death. New video shows. That's the kind of work that Michael Schellenberger
Oh my
is
God.
doing now. That's what Michael Schellenberger has been reduced to. It's pretty sad. They're both pretty pathetic. I mean, especially look, this specifically this CCDH, this was their beat, man. Like this was their, particularly Taibbi. Taibbi was going around doing a traveling slideshow to preach the evangel of how these organizations are trying to suppress your speech. Hey, I mean, we'll see if there's going to be an article forthcoming. I will be very, very surprised. I will be pleasantly surprised, but I'll be surprised. But now remember, Trump was talking about repealing 230 in his first term. Trump warned social media as Justice Department aims to weaken tech's legal shield. Now, if you think this can't happen because the public hates it, remember, you don't have a democracy. The public doesn't have any control over the government. They do what they want. So under Trump, he wanted to repeal it his first term. And clearly, he's not saying no now, because in spite of the fact that this was this British censorship political consultancy firm that worked with Keir Starmer and was trying to help Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and they said they were going to investigate them. Apparently not, because there is no way that you would have all these Republicans working with this firm if Trump had followed through on this antipathy towards them. Big club, folks. You ain't in it. And you're not going to get any relief from the Democrats. Biden wanted to repeal it too. White House removes call to remove Section 230 liability shield. That's from 2022. He still had a quarter of his brain functioning. A little bit more about this. Push to repeal Section 230 raises stakes for how social media moderates content. The way social media works could fundamentally change if the companies forced to insulate themselves from lawsuits. Content moderation standards, another matter of intense political debate, could be drastically tightened to limit legal liabilities. Algorithms that power user feeds may also be subject to overhauls and alter the user experience, raising questions about what platforms would continue to succeed. Quote, it would affect all operations because there would just be much greater risk on every possible technical surface, said John Wybe, an associate professor of media innovation at Northeastern University. Every single aspect of content treatment and all the mechanisms around content would need to be adjusted for much greater legal risk. Now, this is not a Republicans versus Democrats thing. In fact, our friend Blakely dropped a video about this after this press conference, and she got a lot of pushback from who? Libs. That's what Taibbi was writing about back then, right? The libs love the idea of censoring the internet to stop hate and disinformation. They love that idea. They didn't change. Don't forget who you're dealing with on that side. So we'll play some of this.
Wrong comments that I got on the video talking about Joseph Gordon-Levitt going to Congress to lobby in a bipartisan fashion the repeal of Section 230. And you guys, you really have me feeling like Murray and Clueless. Like, are you bitches blind or something? You know who showed up with Joseph Gordon-Levitt at that press conference to talk about repealing Section 230? The Center to Counter Digital Hate. A center that works with the ADL regularly that utilizes the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism to include any criticism of Israel. You're saying do your own research. Yeah, that's exactly what I encourage in the video, to do research, to go look at that website, Bad Internet Bills, that talks about all the different bills that they are working on right now to strip away internet freedom and privacy. I cannot get over sometimes how willing you guys are to give up your own rights in the name of safety. You're right. I bet all the people that we found were in the Epstein files that are in the ruling class that run our government and our society are very concerned about keeping you safe online. You really think that them repealing Section 230 is going to hurt anybody but creators? That's just going to hurt creators because they're going to make it so that nobody can say anything for fear of them getting sued. Have you bothered to ask or think about who's deciding what's misinformation? Who's deciding what's hate? Have none of you read the Epstein files? On top of that, what really gets me about libs and anyone on the left that would defend this trash is that it's like, how have you not learned that it always comes for the left? How have you not learned that it is always the left and people from marginalized groups, the ones that you guys claim to want to protect, that are the ones that are first censored? It is especially insane that anybody would be advocating to give them more power at a time where we have lunatics at the top of government. What are you thinking? Why would you give any more power to the Republicans or the Democrats in Congress or the Trump administration? What? Someone from an independent news outlet was actually defending this. Like, are you insane? Independent news outlets are not going to be able to post shit because they're not going to have the resources to fight back when somebody sues them. It'll be Gawker on steroids, and then the only thing people will do is like post TikTok shop type shit because they can't talk about anything. As we've seen throughout all the Epstein files and their reaction to it, their panicked reaction to it, what do you think they're calling that? Misinformation and conspiracy theories. Things that we're learning were absolutely not conspiracy theories, and they're saying that they are. What do you think repealing Section 230 is going to do to those discussions? They're censoring videos that are coming out of Minneapolis right now saying that they're graphic. It's just incredible to me that at a time where we're living with like outright fascism and authoritarianism, some of you guys are really like, but you know, I think they probably have our best interests at heart with this.
Yep. Great video from Blakely as usual. Yeah, this is what's so scary about this, because you have the liberal class likes the idea of censorship. And part of how Trump was able to present himself as a more attractive option was by calling that out. And that Taibbi article very much was written at that moment. And we certainly, I haven't gone back to watch the tape, but I'm sure we covered it very much from that angle. Like, hey, look at what they're trying to do. I always had skepticism about Trump's motives, but and whether he would follow through or just censor from his angle. And when I saw Taibbi rescue the Republic, I asked him that question. And he said, well, if that happens, we'll attack them. We know how that worked out. But yeah, the libs have not changed. They still like the idea of having the government regulate speech online. And the Republicans are fascists. This battle has been building for a very long time. At first, the CIA, the FBI, the intelligence services, they really liked the internet because they were using it to foment revolutions around the world, like the Arab Spring. When it started to get away from them, when you started to get independent voices presenting counter narratives to the corporate media that they've long controlled from Operation Mockingbird on down, as soon as they saw that genie get out of the bottle, they've been fighting to put it back in ever since. And through various means, they've succeeded to some extent, largely so far by pressuring tech companies into manipulating the algorithm to suppress independent voices and elevate establishment voices in the algorithm. But that's not completely effective because, you know, it's the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. It's very hard to convince the public that they want to eat the warm oatmeal that is Anderson Cooper, right? Like it's very hard to get people to watch that when they're, I would argue, much more engaging, interesting, informed people in the independent media to watch. And especially given that the online space skews younger, they don't want to watch things like that. So what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Like over the last 20 years or so, they've lost control of the narrative, increasingly so. You can see that spiraling as the people who get their information from TV, news, and newspapers are dying off. And increasingly, You're getting a cohort that consumes their news this way. So what are they going to do? And Israel and post October 7th really accelerated this and really pushed it to a head because they're seeing in real time that they were not able to manufacture consent for this support for Israel, and they were not able to suppress knowledge of this genocide. That's why you have an increased urgency to censor the internet. So how do they do that? They can't come out and tell you we just want to censor the internet. They're going to come out and they're going to pitch it like this. Think of the children. It's harming the children. We have to repeal Section 230. And most people are not going to dig into it enough to understand what the implications of that are, and they don't want you to know.
Well, it was always this kind of crazy thing whenever, we were talking about censorship online, in years past. And a lot of people who were against censorship would say, well, if these platforms are going to censor, then they should lose their Section 230 status. We should just repeal Section 230. I said, no. You're going in the exact wrong direction. We don't want to repeal Section 230. We just want them to live up to the bargain.
Right,
That is Section 230, which is, okay, you have legal protection, so what are you censoring for? Right?
Right.
If you are protected, that means that your censorship is not motivated by threat of legal action taken against you, but rather by sort of ideological bias, right? You want to censor. This was always the argument that was so frustrating to have with people who would make the private company defense. Well, it's not censorship because it's not the government, it's a private company. Okay, so what you're saying is you want censorship and you want them to take it upon themselves to choose to censor their platforms because that is the political bent that you feel is the right one and you want them to be on your team. That is essentially what the argument was. And I always thought that the retort to that from some circles on the anti-censorship side, both the anti-censorship right and the anti-censorship left, was a little bit wrong-headed, which is, well, let's threaten to repeal 230. No, you don't want to repeal. If you repeal 230, that makes the problem a million times worse. What you want is for them to live up to the bargain that Section 230 presents them, which is, hey, you have legal protection in case some, lunatic posts some crazy shit. You're not going to get sued for hosting it. Therefore, be more hands-off in how you choose, key point, choose to censor or not censor content. But once you strip the legal protection, now you're leaving them no choice but to censor content.
Of course. Well, that's what they want.
Exactly. All right. Let's move right on along. Got some super chats?
Sure do. Brad Gilbert. Trump did win the 2020 election, but he couldn't sell Convid, so he lost the all-important selection.
C-election. The E-election versus the C-election. I get what you're saying.
Maduro is uniparty asset and will be used to save either the midterms or rally support for Trump 2028.
Here's a theory.
Okay.
We will test that.
He's going to campaign for Trump. They're going to bring him out on a whistle-stop tour. I have, how do you say, got my mind right.
Right, yeah, exactly.
P. Walker, post something racist to overshadow Epstein. Do it now. BB texted Trump on 7 February 2026. Do it now. Linda, why you keep saying it wasn't Trump who posted it or they didn't mean to post it? Were you there? No, it's just, it's a minute long. He's regarded. Do I believe that guy watched 20 seconds of it and say, yeah, that says what I wanted to say? Yeah, shit that.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It makes sense.
It makes sense that he didn't get to the end of the video.
Yeah, we're not saying it is a fact. It's just we think that's probably what happened.
We're just speculating.
Yeah.
P. Walker, what is the point in defeating down ballot Republicans if all you get are feckless, worthless Democrats instead? Seems like a complete waste of time. P. Walker, you are preaching to the choir, my friend. I've become, I heard somebody say on the boat when I was taking the boat up to Laos, this guy was saying, you get older, you get more conservative. I said, not me. I got radicalized as I got older. It didn't take with me. Mark, I went exactly the opposite direction. Don thought his mean joke would land like 2015, 2024. He ordered items removed from the Black Museum, blocked Black folks from housing, and per Jeffrey's email. Donald says Black women are boogers. Yeah.
Is that in the Epstein files? I didn't see
Oh,
that.
yeah. I saw that.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yes. And I believe it. DC, shout out to the Lurkin Kerp in the chat. Is he in the chat?
Is he?
Is he hanging out in the chat? Cooper 12, thank you for everything you do. You're simply the best.
Thank you.
Cup chai. Look, see, you already speak
I'm already
Laotian.
learning.
I haven't even been here. David Santucci, you don't grow up in the tri-state area and marry a Jewish woman without picking up a few Yiddishisms. The word that comes to mind, Mr. E, is Shonda.
You're a Shonda. You're a Shonda.
It's a shame. Texas Real 007. Dick Durbin, excited as he's ever been. Yeah, it's quite a puss he's got on him. Brad Gilbert. Yes, Russ, they do know what we watch and say online, but without digital ID to verify who was actually logged on, they cannot make their arrest lawful. Brad, have you been watching with the last several years? Like the argument that they need, I mean, if this is what you're arguing, because they're saying that the age restriction on social media is a Trojan horse to get digital ID. Yeah, you have no anonymity online. The idea that that's going to strip your anonymity online, it's just a nonsense argument. Like if you're going to make an argument against it, make an argument that's based in reality. The idea that we're all sitting here on the internet and nobody knows who we are. It's ridiculous. Of course, they know who you are. They know where you are. They probably know who your friends are. They know your last known address. Like that horse left the barn a long time ago. Mark P. Thickout. Oh, cigarettes are deadly. How about war? Is that deadly? Starvation, is that deadly? Saroquem, well, you got to get killed from the right things.
That's right.
Like, starvation under capitalism. That's okay. Burning the land. In Mexico, phone ID will be forced this June. They also claim is to avoid fraud, and it's very hard to get people to refuse because of the support the government has. I didn't hear about that. Did you hear about that?
Didn't hear about that either.
All
right. We take some rumble rants here. Every day I wake up with one thought. How is the Dow doing? That's right. Thank you, Nocturnal Human. Ravid Laz, you too, how to dismantle an atomic bomb. Trump, how to dismantle an entire movement. At this point, you wonder if Trump is purposely trying to get to 0% approval. Well, that was one of my theories, that he's trying to tank the brand so much that they are forced to adopt draconian voter suppression. Wait a minute. Why does DJT have staffers on his personal account? Don't all his fans think that's him posting? Yeah, you'd think on Truth Social you get more personal attention from him. Eric Rousseau, he loves the other white meat. I'm supposed to think they didn't make Michelle Obama a silverback. Yeah, they just went with what the AI spit out, I guess. Russ, go easy on Anna Nicole Levitt. Tracy was playing Fortnite with Jeff. Yeah, it's the new theory. He's playing Fortnite.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of Jones, he called it that Trump sucks dick 7 years ago. Sent you the clip through IG. Oh, I don't check the Instagram messages hardly ever, but I will look at that one since you said it. Bienticus Prime, all they really need to do with Section 230 is add 2 words in C2A to change it from otherwise objectionable to otherwise objectionable by law. Interesting. All right. Even better to say otherwise objectionable as clearly specified in law. That's an interesting point. Thank you, Bienticus. I don't buy it was an oversight. Trump's nose libs can't resist a group pearl clutch about his racism. and that would work to get them talking about something other than his real crimes. Yeah, but the thing is, he wants people getting worked up about the Georgia election. Like the reason he posted that is because he wants to inject that into the conversation. He's not looking for a distraction with that video. He's looking to, get people all bent out of shape about voter fraud. Convince a fool he is learned, and there is little else you cannot convince him of. Thank you, Vianticus. EO Shush says, repeal Section 230, then the army of Zionist lawyers will sue these tech companies and mass ban for pro-Palestinian creators. Of course.
Yep.
Of course. Well, I mean, they could do at
that's the point of this.
Yeah. Yeah. At that point, you're forcing the hands of these companies to just basically do, as Russ said in the segment, what TikTok did. That's what everybody will basically have to do if you repeal that. Vienticus says, personally, I'm not for any censorship or restrictions placed on internet access. Other people's bullshit is and always will be something to be survived, not believed. When a person thinks they can believe from the very, very bottom of their itty bitty heart, they're speaking the truth. But all they're speaking is how they see the world, not necessarily what is. Thank you, Vienticus. Let's see. Miserable Lib says, such a shame with Gordon Levitt. I knew he was a shit lib when I started getting his emails on behalf of the Adam Shit Senate campaign.
Yeah, that's how he strikes me. He's like a Mark Ruffalo kind of politically. That's what I get from him.
Well, Ruffalo has spoken out about Gaza. So Levitt has not. So that's at least one important distinction. Eric EO Shush, MAGA was Israeli created color revolution. Epstein had blackmail on Trump, met with the creator of 4chan. Adelson donated millions. Epstein files about Twitter bots. Miserable Lib says, no one else watched Third Rock from the Sun? Come on, was it written in every actor's contract from a great 90s show to become an absolute douchebag later in life? Thank you for that. Appreciate that very much. Okay, we will move right on along here. First things first, we got a nice crowd in here, 2,900 strong in the YouTube channel. In the year 2525. We're at 956 likes. Let's smash that like button even harder. Everybody, thanks very much for being here. Appreciate you all on this special timed Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday show. Speaking of the Super Bowl, we got some entertainment-oriented news to cover here. So, it was announced back a while ago that Kid Rock was planning a massive Rock the Country tour celebrating 250 years of freedom. 8 massive shows, 8 small towns, headlined by Kid Rock, Jason Aldean, Blake Shelton, Jelly Roll, Creed, Brooks and Dunn, Riley Green, Miranda Lambert, Hank Williams Jr., Ella Langley, Shinedown, Leonard Skinner, and more. Don't have to read the whole list. But
Leonard Skinner was that 4 severed heads. What is?
Yeah, right.
Who would that be?
I don't know what the lineup is nowadays, but they are on the bill. But of course, we had that list start to shrink by quite a bit. Most recently and most famously, the band Shinedown posted the following to their social media on Friday. Shinedown is everyone's band. We feel that we have been given a platform to bring all people together through the power of music and song. We have one boss, and it is everyone in the audience. Our band's purpose is to unite, not divide. With that in mind, we have made the decision that we will not be playing the Rock the Country Festival. We know this decision will create differences of opinion, but we do not want to participate in something we believe will create further division. And to our fans, thank you for supporting and believing in us. We love and appreciate you always. All love and respect. Shinedown. So the Chuds who are looking forward to this festival did not like that. A message for Shinedown. Dear singers and actors, we spend our hard-earned money to hear your music and to watch you pretend to be characters in movies and on TV. Your only job is to entertain us, to take us away from reality. Your personal opinion means nothing to us. You're significant and influential
Except
only
we agree
in
with
your
it.
own minds. Yeah, except when we agree with it. Then you're based like Kid Rock and Jason Aldean. Right. When you're singing about shooting black people outside of gas stations who you think are going to rob you, then that we love. And within the minds of your elitist peers, you are a marionette to us, nothing more. Sing, act, shut up. Yeah, no, that's what artists are supposed to do. They're supposed to just dance for you. They're not supposed to make you think or challenge your beliefs about anything. No, that's a very, very healthy culture you're trying to build over there. Chief Nerd, big account. Says, LOL. This is in response to Shinedown. You were the least relevant band on the card. Well, not really. I mean, it goes down to font size 4 at the bottom of the list. They were one of the more relevant bands on the card. It seems like you were the least relevant band on the card, and now you gave a middle finger to half the country. It's about 37% of the country as of now. Find a new PR person. I love this one. Here are the performers I think will be fine without you, whoever you are. Ha, ha, ha. Well, apparently they're not going to be so fine without them. Kid Rock-led Rock Country Festival canceled in South Carolina after nearly all performers pull out. Wow. These are people who thought it was a good idea to join a Kid Rock and Jason Aldean headline festival in the first place. Right?
Actually, is it true Jason Aldean was going to pull out, but then after Trump sent out the Obama monkey video, he signed back up?
Maybe that was the point of that. Maybe he realized Kid Rock was getting people to pull out of the festival and tried to save it. The Kid Rock back to Rock the Country Festival is no longer moving forward in South Carolina after a wave of artist withdrawals effectively collapsed one of its scheduled tour stops. Anderson County, South Carolina officials confirmed to the Post and Courier that the 2-day concert planned for July 25th and 26th at the Anderson Sports and Entertainment Center has been canceled. County Administrator Rusty Burns said officials were notified on the night of February 5th, but were not given a specific explanation for the decision. We weren't told a reason, Burns said. It happens in the business. We had a good 2-year run. Like that we had a good 2-year run. Is that what you call a 2-year run? Seems like kind of a shitty 2-year run. The festival was part of a larger 8-date summer series launched by Kid Rock with additional headline support from Jason Aldean and other major acts. While the Anderson, South Carolina stop has been removed entirely, several other cities remain listed on the tour schedule, including Ocala, Florida, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and Hamburg, New York, which is near Buffalo. The cancellation follows a rapid series of artist exits. On February 6th, Shinedown publicly announced it would no longer participate, citing concerns about division tied to the event. Shinedown's exit came after several artists quietly stepped away in recent weeks, including Morgan Wade, Carter Faith, and Ludacris, each of whom faced online backlash following their initial involvement. I guess the Ludacris backlash was so strong that he denied ever having agreed to the first place. So Ludacris was allegedly never booked for Kid Rock Festival, according to manager. Creed, which had been promoted as a featured act at the Anderson date, was also removed from the festival's website ahead of the cancellation announcement. Despite the shakeup, the tour's remaining promotional materials still list Kid Rock, Jason Aldean, Blake Shelton, Jelly Roll, and Brooks and Dunn among the artists attached to other stops. She'd call this the Alcoholics Eponymous Tour. That's what it should be. It's Rock the Country. Originally marketed as a patriotic celebration tied to America's upcoming 250th anniversary, Rock the Country has drawn attention for its cultural positioning as much as its lineup. Yeah, no shit. Well, that festival may be canceled, but Kid Rock's got a big gig coming up tonight. That's right, the TPUSA halftime show. Here's hype man Benny Johnson with a surprise appearance by guess who?
Halftime show, ready to Kid Rock, halftime show, ready to go. Kid, how you feeling?
Man, it's been a lot of preparation, a lot of work. I could use a little advice or something. Just
now you're on the bottom, right? You're going to be on the bottom because I can't see myself as a bottom man. You're a bottom, right?
Yeah, I got a guy for that.
You should read the news. Oh, here you go. There you go.
Let's go. Super Bowl halftime show featuring Kid Rock.
It's disgusting.
There it is, celebrating faith, family, and freedom. Yeah, that's what I got from all of that imagery, a celebration of faith, family, and freedom. You guys are quite the messengers
This isn't dystopian at all.
for that. Yeah, so as this is all happening, of course, Super Bowl weekend is afoot. Grammy winner Bad Bunny set to perform tonight. By the time many of you see this clip, he will have already performed and will probably, if my guess is accurate, have more to say about that on Tuesday, no matter how it goes. But of course, it's not just a Super Bowl halftime show. Bands come in for Super Bowl weekend and perform sort of pre-Super Bowl concerts. So Green Day is one of the acts that they had booked for that this year. And here is lead singer Billy Joe Armstrong with a message to ICE agents from the stage last night.
The ICE agents, wherever you are, quit that shitty job you're at. Because when this is over, and it will be over at some point in time, Christy Young, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, they're gonna drop you like a bad fucking habit. Come on this side of the line.
So, yeah, and just a quick aside, we always like to give credit where it's due to artists who, unlike Bruce Springsteen, are not selective in their outrage and who are not cowards on Israel-Palestine. Here is Green Day's Billy Joe Armstrong flying a Palestinian flag on stage at a concert early last year. So that should just be noted for the record. A party and a protest. What to expect from Bad Bunny on Super Bowl Sunday? Of course, Bad Bunny, who famously boycotted the United States as part of his tour for fear that ICE would be raiding the parking lots, just won the Grammy for Album of the Year. He will be performing tonight on stage at the Super Bowl, and MAGA will be boycotting the halftime show along with Donald Trump. This isn't really what winning looks like, is it? When you win the culture, shouldn't you be in a position where the halftime show bends to you, where the NFL bends to you? They got Green Day up here with their Palestinian flags and their anti-ICE stuff. They got Bad Bunny coming in tonight for the halftime show, and MAGA's left out in the cold here. So here is a report on the president's plans for the evening.
Really quick, leaving the White House briefing room where we just learned President Trump is going to spend the next couple days waiting by the phone for anybody in Arizona, whether it's the local officials, the FBI that are out there, to call him asking for help, resources that might locate Nancy Guthrie. President Trump, we are told, will say yes to any requests. We also know he's going to spend some time in Florida this weekend, Super Bowl Sunday. They're not telling us which team he is going to root for, but they are telling us which halftime show he will watch, and it's not the one with Bad Bunny. We're going to wrap as much of this into the Sunday briefing, 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, as we can. We'll see you there.
Well, that's happening as we're streaming, because we're on early for the Super Bowl. But here's Kid Rock on Fox News talking about how Metallica, Bay Area band, was overlooked for this year's Super Bowl halftime show.
To do this as an alternative.
I think really Turning Point read the room. And just at the end of the day, like people like Taylor Sheridan and Tyler Perry have, they realize there's a big portion of this country, like it or not, that's underserved entertainment-wise. And, we're just going to go play for our base, people who love America, love football, love Jesus, and it's pretty much that simple. And of course, the media and the haters are going to try to detract from it. And I think I would like to get this point across once again when I say I think I speak for Turning Point and all the artists involved that none of us are approaching this.
Have any idea what country is responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk?
Just a love for our base and love for music, our country, and everything else.
Right. Are you surprised? I mean, they seem to be picking some polarizing acts for the NFL.
Man, if the NFL really
were all about its stated goals and really, wanted to take care of their fan base. And it seems to me like, okay, why not do things that are really right from those cities, really celebrate the culture of any city they're in. And
you mean like San Francisco? They should have picked up great Bay Area artists if they really want to connect with the fan base.
There's a band that checks every single box from San Francisco by the name of Metallica. Also, some great rappers from the Bay Area, E40, Too Short. I wish they would have done this in New Orleans with Lil Wayne.
I mean, Bad Bunny just won the Grammy. He's been absolutely huge. I had never heard of him until about 6 months ago, until he was announced for the Super Bowl. That's how out of touch I've been on the whole contemporary hip music scene. But
you have a music channel, man. Jesus.
Well, that's part of why I started it, so I can get caught up, because I'm caught up on the older stuff. But yeah, no, the newer stuff, especially.
What are you going to do when you get to 2025 in your list?
Well, that's about a year away, so I have time. That's the idea.
That's true. You can catch up. Yeah.
I have time to catch up. Exactly. But no, I mean, look, Bad Bunny and Green Day, they seem to be more the mainstream than Kid Rock, Jason Aldean, Shinedown, Blake Shelton, whoever the fuck you got on this tour that you just had to cancel because most of the acts just dropped out. Who is winning the culture war here? There's actually a really interesting article in the New Republic about just this, the hilarious decline of MAGA's brief cultural relevance. Donald Trump is trying not to make a big deal of the fact that he won't be attending Super Bowl 60 when it kicks off Sunday. The game, which is being held in Santa Clara, California, is just too far away, said the president, who regularly flies across the world on taxpayer-funded plane that solely exists to take him wherever he wants, whenever he wants. In the same interview, though, Trump did indicate another possible reason why he wasn't attending: the opening ceremony and halftime show. The latter will feature a performance from Puerto Rican singer Bad Bunny, and the former will feature Bay Area punk rock band Green Day, both of whom have been sharply critical of the president, his administration, and particularly in the case of Bad Bunny, ICE. I'm anti-them. I think it's a terrible choice. All it does is sow hatred. Terrible, Trump said. Trump's absence at Super Bowl 60, combined with TPUSA's show, tells us where his second term is headed. A year ago, Trump had real cultural power, particularly in the sports world. He attended Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans and was applauded. Pro athletes celebrated goals and touchdowns by breaking out the Trump dance, quote unquote. There was wide concern that the right had achieved massive cultural power through influencers, popular YouTube shows, and comics. Now Trump is staying home, and the best counter-programming his allies can come up with is a performance by one of the most talentless performers American culture has produced in the last quarter century. This is a familiar, lowly position for the right, which has spent most of the last half century whining about how American popular culture is mean to conservatives. But what is surprising is that a year ago, it seemed like that was finally changing. The right had made real progress, from podcasters and comics like Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn to comics and podcasters like Matt Rife and Tony Hinchcliffe to the aforementioned athletes doing the Trump dance last fall and winter. Rogan recently called ICE the Gestapo, and you don't see the Trump dance very often anymore. The biggest story of the last year is that Trump has, in a very short amount of time,
Are you aware of this dance? What is this dance?
The Trump dance, the YMCA, the dick dance. That's
the dick dance.
Yeah, and like when people scored a touchdown, athletes would break out into it. Kind of became a thing for a few weeks. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. The biggest story of the last year is that Trump has, in a very short amount of time, squandered most of his political capital by running a belligerent, unlawful, and fascist regime. But the second biggest is that the right has squandered all of the cultural capital his election brought them. A year ago, it seemed like the right was on the verge of total dominance throughout American society. Now they're back to pretending to like Kid Rock while everyone in the country gets to enjoy the real Super Bowl halftime show. Yeah, I think that was really well said and well written, and it's something that we've been sort of tracking and talking about a lot. How, after Trump won in November of 2024, everybody was anticipating this massive cultural shift from sort of wokeness to MAGA. And it happened for a short period of time. And then as this administration revealed itself for what it is, we've seen their cultural capital really decline very steeply to the point where, yeah, a year in, we're at a Bad Bunny halftime show with Green Day opening up, and we're having the MAGA answer to that, canceling festivals because the artists are dropping out because they think it's too divisive. And we didn't want to spend a whole segment on this today, but I did think it was worth pointing out. There was a special election in Louisiana last night, which presented, by the numbers, an even more dramatic shift percentage-wise than even that Texas victory, where a Republican plus 13 district went to the Democrat by 24, 37-point swing, an even bigger swing as a percentage.
Wow.
Obviously, the
And
Texas district.
Louisiana, man.
Louisiana. I mean, the Texas district is a lot larger, but percentage-wise, this was even a bigger swing than that in an even redder state than Texas. And so
outside of New Orleans, Louisiana's blood red.
Blood red. And you had here a Democrat landslide, not just a win, just a crushing landslide. So, yeah, that is indicative of what this article talks about. Beyond politics, you are seeing the decline of the cultural capital from a movement that had really won it. They had really won it. And what really strikes me about this is that when you look at the dismal state of the Democratic Party, when you look at the slate of candidates that they're talking about running in 2028, when you look at their favorability ratings, not just in terms of their overall perception of them as a party, but if you go issue by issue by issue, they still measure up very badly to Republicans on a lot of issues. MAGA did this to itself. It did not have to go this way. It did not have to go this way, but it has, because they immediately, oddly enough, we're talking about the Super Bowl. The first sign of this, in my point of view, was their reaction to the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show, which was 2 weeks after Inauguration Day, 2 or 3 weeks, however the calendar worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, he takes the stage. They get trending. DEI halftime show. Like you showed your hand right there. That was really a predictor of how this was going to go. And yeah, now a year out, you got Green Day and Bad Bunny on the Super Bowl halftime show and the Super Bowl weekend lineup, and you got Kid Rock having artists drop out of his that's the thing. It's South Carolina. It wasn't even like he couldn't get people to show up in New York. The reddest of red states, they're canceling shows. That kind of is a perfect metaphor for what we have seen culture-wide.
Yeah, they did have a moment there, but it was inevitable that it was going to flame out. One, lack of talent in that ideological lane. I'm sorry,
that's true too. Yeah,
that's just a reality. Like what? Oh yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe. He was going to light the world on fire, right? I mean, that point of view just does not generate great artists. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. I said it last time we covered this, man. Like, when I ran theaters, I wanted to get good conservative stuff, not because I was a conservative, for variety, just to get another point of view. Anything that would all right, there's a little bit of a digression. Feel free to cut it from the clip. I'm not making this up, so help me God. Somebody sent me a script that was basically clearly intended to be sexual tension between two men at a hotel. And they start like talking about, intellectuals and writers and philosophers. And clearly this is written for them to have romantic tension. Right. And then the twist is, so what are you here for? I'm going to the revival meeting. Me too. Right. I'm not making this up. That was the script. That's the kind of shit you get from conservatives.
Right.
When you get to a call for submission. I thought the guy's name was like Benny something who sent I can't. I'm kidding, but that's script. That's a true story. So look, man, I mean, if you don't have enough talent to build it on, what are you going to do? And then when you look at the people in that crowd that have talent, like Matt Walsh, they're such hateful little pigs that as soon as you remove the foil of Democrats in power, they have nowhere to go but to expose themselves as the bigoted miserable wastes of sperm and egg that they actually are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The masks come off very quickly, and that was another thing. Without the restraint of needing to win an election,
Right.
they went right to who they are.
Right.
And who they are is ugly, as you point out. DEI halftime show. Why? What makes it a DEI halftime show? What is that? Immediately, the pettiness of their spirit and the lie that was at the core of their movement, that they wanted to restore fairness and sanity. They very quickly made it clear they wanted to go to a mirror opposite kind of insanity to what they claimed they were fighting against. And they also, but perhaps most damaging, they restored the credibility of their enemies by immediately demonstrating they were everything that they were accused of being.
Right. Exactly.
Ignorant, bitter, racist bigots.
Yeah.
Immediately they just went right to that as if they won.
Right.
They won a final victory. Masks can come off. Yeah, guys, we can get the bed sheets out of the closets and put them on, march around again. We won. Yeah. I mean, it was just amazing. And actually, as a show that very much was always very hesitant, or even, it absolutely refused to just write that movement off as racist and bigoted. I mean, proved us wrong, man. I mean, that's one of the hardest things, like, you got to admit. We were way too empathetic to these complaints, because the complaints as they were presented were economic. And it is true that these industrial areas that a lot of these people come from are eviscerated and have been just absolutely devastated by government policy. And you could say that's how they wound up this way. And I would still say that.
Yes.
I mean, the reality is,
sure,
a lot of these people were two-time Obama voters.
Mm-hmm.
But what they have become, some of them started there, some of them got there. But it's certainly not a solution, and it's certainly not what it was sold as. All of this, we're going to get back to open debate, and we respect the people we disagree with. All bullshit. Everything they sold themselves as that you might have thought, well, at least they'll be better on this. At least they'll be better on censorship. At least they'll be better on war. None of it. Right. The ones who really meant it walked away already.
Exactly. And I think, big cultural moments like the Super Bowl really go a long way into, like, magnifying, okay, where is the culture now versus where it was. Contrasted, of course, with Kid Rock not only playing this TPUSA halftime show, but also canceling festivals. And we'll see what happens on stage. Obviously, Bad Bunny did say, ice out at the Grammys. Super Bowl is a much, much bigger stage. We will see if there's any political commentary at all and what it is. I will be watching and waiting, rooting for the Seahawks, obviously. Patriots, big Zionist team there, big Zionist owner. So got to root for Seattle. Yeah, man, look, I mean, I hope Bad Bunny, I hope this is the wokest halftime show ever. I hope he had bottom surgery last week and he flashes his pussy to the whole world tonight. That's what I'm looking for from Bad Bunny tonight. That would be amazing. So I say, let's bring it on. Let's get it on.
And I think we should just take a victory lap. It's kind of a minor point. We called out Jason Aldean as exactly what the fuck he was.
Yeah, exactly.
When everybody was trying to roll around. Yeah, no, he's just saying in a small town. Yeah, it was obvious that motherfucker. Oh, yeah, no. He accidentally picked a spot where a guy got lynched.
Yeah. There's something about the courthouse.
Nobody knew about it.
Yeah,
nobody knew about it. There's a historical marker outside describing what happened there. That was an accident. It was so obvious this guy was a fucking cracker. Just from the video, you could look at it. I'm
pretty
sorry,
obvious.
man. Yeah. Absolutely no surprise that he'd be one of the people who doesn't drop off this tour.
No surprise at. Oh no, they need him. I mean, he's the second bill. They need him and Kid Rock, and then as long as they have those two, they can sort of put together a bunch of sort of like fourth and fifth string artists who just like will do it for the exposure. But yeah, if they lose him, then that's everything. All right. Now, did you see the video of that guy there? Pray for the Left. That big viral video that's going around now. The guy singing the song. He's a Canadian. He's like got like tattoos all over his face. It's like the new right wing MAGA song that's all over X right now.
Oh yeah,
it's very, very strange. He looks like if someone drew Macklemore on the inside the bathroom stall of a truck stop. That's what the guy looks like. But the song is pretty cringe, and that's their cultural output. All right, let's move on. Jake, you got the scroll for us, my friend? Appreciate that. Thanks to Jake. Round of applause for Jake in the booth here today. If you like what we do here and you want to help us do more, best way to do so is to become a member. You get bonus content. You also get call-in access to our post-show Q&As, which broadcast to Rumble every Sunday night. It's Sunday morning, but it's still Sunday, so we are doing a Q&A after the show today. So if you would like call-in access to that Q&A, please sign up at dudissidents.com/Patreon, Substack, or Locals. Links are on the top of the screen right there. So thank you all very, very much for your support. You also get ad-free versions of every live stream emailed to you the day after they air in public, so you can watch them back free of ad interruption in case you miss the live. All right, we'll take some more chats while the scroll does its scroll. Walter Kern has Matt Taibbi under his spell. Seems like a little, it does seem like Matt Taibbi humors him more than he wants to. His fatal flaw is that he's a nice guy. The whole Trump administration and powerful billionaires are in the files. This is a Zionist coup, art of war. Back them up to the river and fight the coup to the American government or go to jail for life. Professor Brown note on the Apple Podcast app on the If You Like Do Dissidents, Maybe You Like tab, I get Martyr Made, as well as Horton and Cooper. LOL, what? All right, well, there you go. Vienticus Prime. Remember, there's two types of people, those who want freedom from others and those who want freedom over others. That's right. Well said. The social media companies took the babies out of the incubators. That's right. Vienticus Prime. Anytime people's argument is basically my billionaire is better than your billionaire, I think of Marissa Tomei talking about shooting a deer. Don't miss off-Broadway weekend at Chomsky starting snarky Michael Tracy and unflinching Aaron Mate. As hilarity ensues, they drag Chomsky through the TED Talks and dodge nosy academics and fend off Chomsky truthers. Thank you, Abiding. Healing Tarzan, digital ID isn't about non-existent privacy. It's about streamlining automation in order to make the data collated by the Palantirs of the world actionable. Vienticus, font size 4 is my nickname for my penis. Good ones, all right. Self-deprecating sense of humor. And Rusty Burns sounds like having the shits after eating spicy food. That is a very South Carolina name, Rusty Burns, for sure. Kid Rock always makes me think he has autism because those kids rock. He should play in the corner with his plushies, moaning and biting his elbows. The Autism Capital really went hard at Trump also. Speaking of autism, that was a big sort of MAGA adjacent account, and they came out very strongly against him. He's losing the autistics. That's how you know you're in trouble. When the autistics jump ship, you got no one left. All right, you got some super chats over there.
Yep, Brad Gilbert. Hey, Helen Lovejoy, why so quiet about the lack of Epstein transparency? By the way, good use of the Candace Owens 666 hand flashes. Not buying any of it. Okay. Gangrene Thumb. Trump is the Lion King.
Good one.
Nice.
Bad humor for the win.
Unemployed scholar. Maybe you're eating out of Keaton's dish there.
Yeah.
Unemployed scholar. Maybe they're panicking because WAPO imploded.
Yeah, that's a story we just missed in the cycle. Just timing-wise didn't work out.
Interrobang 5000. Do you guys think we can create an incorruptible, independent AI journalist to replace the obviously corruptible media and do investigation?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
What could possibly go wrong? Brad Gilbert. Laws only have power if we, the people, grant it. That's why they need us to accept digital ID as infallible. Passports, voter ID, online ID. Why all the effort for nothing? If they can just do it, do it. Are they really making that much effort? Like, are they?
I mean, look, I don't think it's for nothing. Like, I don't think. I think digital ID is a real story and a real concern,
Sure,
obviously.
yeah.
But I think what Russ's point is that if you're talking about a matter of effort, they already have the tools essentially in place to invade your privacy at will.
Yes, exactly. So my point is really, I would assume that a lot of the voices that are connecting that to the effort to ban social media for kids under 16 are probably the tech platforms themselves.
Well,
If I had to guess, they're putting bots out there to stir people up against those kinds of regulations on the basis of digital ID. Because in the end, it's a lot of money for them to not have kids using social media. So that's my point. Like, it's just not an argument against that. It's certainly not like if you're, but what about my anonymity? What anonymity? You don't have any. When you sign up to social media, they don't send a text to your phone to verify that you are who you say. You don't have anonymity. It doesn't exist. Dave, 1984. So is there any point in voting blue in midterms to counterbalance Trump? Listen, man, that's the eternal question of harm reduction. We have never been among those who say categorically don't vote. I mean, we always have. Like we voted for Jill Stein, right? And yeah, like we said, if Kamala Harris had taken a stance that she's going to stop weapon sales to Israel, we would have voted for her. Like, but for the Palestinians, like in many cases, like me and Keaton, we're not in the groups most affected by what Trump is doing. I think it's a somewhat privileged position to refuse to vote for harm reduction. Now, there's a difference between that and I guess some people would say, well, you could extend that logic to supporting these candidates. Well, maybe, but I won't. Like, I'm not going to go support Democrats. I'm not going to fundraise for Democrats. I'm not going to encourage people to. I'm not volunteering for Democrats. But it doesn't really take much effort to go down to my polling place and vote for somebody who's maybe going to make things a little better for people who are not me. So I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
People have to decide for themselves. I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's something everybody decides for themselves based on who they are and where they are too. Like based on where you are and who your candidates are. Like my congressman, I don't even know his fucking full name. I think his last name is Tonko. He's a guy who no one's ever heard of. Keeps a very low profile for a congressman, but he's the Capital Region's congressman. He has called Gaza a genocide. He has advocated for an arms embargo, and he is for abolishing ICE, not just reforming ICE, but abolishing ICE. So that's a guy. I mean, I have to look into it more, but like, I can take yes for an answer from that guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not somebody I'm going to tell you, Dad, don't go. Like, why would I do that? Like, I could take yes for an answer from those three. Those are three pretty big positions. But yeah, it depends on who you are and where you are. That's what I would say. I won't tell you no, don't vote. Or don't vote for a Democrat anywhere, or in this case, there's not a presidential race, so it's going to differ according to everybody's situation, very much according to the location. Like, I wouldn't tell you to go vote for John Fetterman, obviously, right? But he's not running this year. But that's the point. The point is, that's a decision everybody makes according to their own circumstance. So that's what I would say to that. All right. Let's move on. So we got some Epstein stuff.
Okay. As you might have heard, hang on a second. We got to get this sound drop queued up for this. All right. So as as you might have heard, Howard Lutnick appears quite a lot in the Epstein files. As people read through these, he's popping up more and more. So a lot of people have pointed out that Lutnick always laughs when they bring up the Epstein files, and he laughs his ass off here when Trump is asked about the Epstein files being a hoax.
The two Kevins, it's very good.
Mr. President, is Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you
Yeah,
that question.
it's hilarious.
I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw it reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country.
Wow.
And that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay?
All right, the Pig Man. Pig Man, you might remember, we're not going to play it because everyone's seen this video 10 times, but I'm sure you've seen Howard Lutnick claiming he tells this elaborate story of how he met Epstein with his wife, and he was so disgusted. In 2005, he said he vowed to never be in a room with that disgusting person ever again. It's really quite remarkable, because if you watch that video, and we've said this before, you know, me and Keaton both come from a theater background. That's great acting, man. Like, he was really committed to that monologue. Like, it was he said it was such conviction. Once you've seen that about somebody, you can never trust anything they say again. Not that you ever should have trusted anything coming from the Pig Man to begin with. But after you see that, when this guy goes up and talks about all the American jobs he's going to create, if you still believe that, I'm sorry, you're a special kind of stupid. Thomas Massey. According to legal documents and emails, Epstein and Lutnick did business together, and Lutnick vacationed on Epstein's island long after Lutnick claims they parted ways, and long after Epstein was a known sex offender. That in and of itself says a lot about all of these people, including Noam Chomsky. Some people are very upset. They can't let him go. They can't let him go. They can't have a complicated legacy. He has to be a saint.
This is another I won't slow you down too much, but I just have to interject. This is another perfect example of the point I've been making about this, including to Michael Tracy. Okay, so Lutnick has not been implicated in any crimes against anybody in these files. He has not been implicated in any crimes. We don't have reason to suspect.
Not sex crimes. He's been implicated in financial crimes.
Right, but not the kind of crimes that people associate with Jeffrey Epstein. This is the Commerce Secretary. This is someone with immense power in society. So is his character not important to litigate? And what this reveals is not only did he have bad character enough to associate with Epstein long after Epstein was a convicted sex trafficker, but he is of such low character that he lied about it 20 years after the fact.
Yeah.
Clearly.
It's all Russiagate.
Yeah.
Russiagate. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Jeffrey Epstein were in business together. Epstein files show the hits just keep on coming with this administration. So here you go, 24th March 2011. Little exchange going back and forth with Epstein and the assistants. Howard Lutnick is on an airplane headed overseas. His office would like to know if you would like to set up a call while he is away, or if you prefer to speak with him on Monday, April 4th, when he is back. Let me know. Matthew and Katie are his assistants. 4th of April is okay. That's from Epstein. Great. I'll set up a call for that. Remember that. Remember how Lutnick's was such conviction. I said I never want to be with this disgusting person again. Supposed to be 2005. This 2011. Okay. So then you have meetings set up. This in and of itself is kind of interesting in the range of people in these meetings. So he has a meeting set up with Lutnick here, and this 2011 April. But then he has dinner with Woody Allen, Sun Yi, Professor Steve Koslin, Catherine Keating, Alexandra Keating, and then he's having dinner at the home of Vera Wang. See, none of these people who virtue signal to you about their morals actually have any, right? It's oh yeah, no, sex trafficker, sure, come over for dinner.
No, it's Epstein's world. Everybody, everyone loves Epstein.
Everyone's living in it.
Yeah,
everyone.
Yeah.
The new sitcom from Paramount Plus.
Everybody loves
everyone loves Jeffrey. Okay, so I thought I might need these. All right, and these broke on the road, so I can't get them fixed. But yeah, I'm gonna need glasses for this. All right, so hi Jeff. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart's Anguilla on Monday at some point. Where are you located? What is exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I have another couple, Michael and Marcy Lehman, with me on my boat, and each of us has 4 children. Hey, sex offender PDF file. We're going to bring you some kids. Does that sweeten the deal at all? As we said, he's not implicated in any of those kinds of shenanigans. Come Saturday or Sunday lunch, Little St. James on the map behind Christmas Cove. So yeah, he that was released earlier this week. But now this was found, which seems to confirm that he actually did go to the island. Good morning, Howard. Jeffrey wished me to pass along the below to you. Nice seeing you. Please read number 2.3. Thanks. Now that's significant because 4 days after that, they signed their business deal. So presumably that was a point in the contract that he wanted him to look over. We don't know that for sure, but it makes sense because 4 days later they sign a contract that now Lutnick is saying he didn't know who else was a partner in this deal. He was a minor partner. All right. So what were you telling him to look at? That sounds like a section in a contract that you're describing. Thomas Paine, Jeffrey Epstein and Howard Lutnick were business partners. Here is the operating agreement of their company. Lutnick said he barely knew Epstein, even though they were next door neighbors in New York City and business partners in Adfin Solutions, Inc. They really think you're stupid. In some cases, they're right. So there you go. Signatures side by side on this contract. This is from CBS. Now, listen, I would prefer not to use CBS. I'm not going to get into it, but we have our ways around paywalls. The New York Times article on this couldn't be cracked. Don't know why. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said he had limited interactions with Jeffrey Epstein, but documents show they were in business together as recently as 2014. Lutnick and Epstein each signed on behalf of limited liability companies that agreed on December 28th, 2012 to acquire stakes in a now shuttered advertising technology company called Adfin, documents released among the so-called Epstein files show. Epstein and Lutnick's signatures appear on neighboring pages in the contract, with Epstein signing for his Southern Trust Company, Inc., and Lutnick for a limited liability company called CVAFH1. The documents list 9 shareholders total. Oh, that's way too many to know who you're in business with. 9? How could he possibly? When asked for comment about their business dealings and documents concerning Adfin, a spokesperson for the Commerce Department responded with a statement it had previously issued about emails showing Lutnick planning to visit Epstein's Island in 2012. Quote, "This is nothing more than a failing attempt by the legacy media to distract from the administration's accomplishments, including securing trillions of dollars in investment, delivering historic trade deals, and fighting for the American worker." Secretary Lutnick had limited interactions with Mr. Epstein in the presence of his wife and has never been accused of wrongdoing, the statement read. They're really going to the greatest hits. Going right to the greatest hits. A source close to Lutnick told CBS News, quote, "Cantor Fitzgerald was a small minority investor in Adfin. At the time of doing the deal, as a minority investor, Mr. Lutnick would not have any knowledge of who the other investors were. 4 days before, approximately had him as a guest on the island, but they didn't discuss this deal they were in together. And it seems like the email he sent indicated a point in this deal that he wanted them to look at. We can't be sure about that. It's hard to explain it any other way. 11 days after that, on January 8th, 2013, Epstein had his assistant forward Lutnick a document related to casino legislation in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where Epstein had his island and a variety of business dealings. A spokesperson said Lutnick ignored the documents sent to him. Well, I would believe that when I saw it. Correspondence relating to Adfin continued until at least 2014, when one of the shareholders, David Mitchell, wrote to Epstein regarding additional fundraising involving Cantor Ventures, a venture capital subsidiary of Cantor Fitzgerald. Lutnick had been president and CEO of Cantor since 1991 and was elevated to chairman in 1996. Also in 1996, Epstein sold a property located at 11 East 71st Street in New York to an entity called Comet Trust, which 2 years later sold the property to Lutnick. It became his primary residence next door to Epstein's New York City mansion. Now, Lutnick actually still owns that building as of 2025. When I get back to New York, I'm going to have to go over there and shoot a video. That's going to get my house raided, but it's good content, right? So to give you an idea, all right, so you see the 2 blue dots? That's Epstein's house and Lutnick's house. So you can see it's about half block off Central Park there. Yeah, no, Lutnick hardly knew him. He hardly knew him. And then, this being CBS, you'll notice, if you know anything about this case, they left out quite a bit about that sale. In 1998, Lutnick purchased a Manhattan property at 11 East 71st Street behind the Henry Clay Frick House from the Comet Trust. The townhouse was previously owned by an entity associated with businessman Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein, a financier and child sex offender. Lutnick had extensively renovated its interior renovations by May 2001. Epstein also lived next door, as he and Lutnick were neighbors, with Epstein likewise purchasing his home in 1998 too. And Lutnick, as it says here, still owns the mansion. By the time Epstein and Lutnick agreed to buy stakes in Adfin, It had been more than 4 years since Epstein agreed to enter a guilty plea to Florida state charges of procuring a child for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute. The case brought forth allegations of far broader sex trafficking and victimization of girls, but it wasn't until 2019 that Epstein was charged with federal felonies, including trafficking. He died in jail in the weeks after his arrest. I mean, I'm surprised they did that, because most outlets will say he deleted himself. They actually went with the neutral. He died in jail. But it gets even more interesting. Now, remember, all these people around Trump, for the most part, including Trump, were Democrats. For most of their careers, they were Democrats. Democrats in the post-Clinton decades kind of became the party of like the hip rich, right? If you wanted to be like the cool rich, you were a Democrat. The vampire squid, Larry Fink, he was a Democrat over there at Goldman Sachs. So he invited Epstein to a Hillary Clinton fundraiser he was hosting in 2015. Let me get my glasses on for this. It's small print. I would like to invite you to attend a very intimate fundraising event with Hillary Clinton from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the Cantor Fitzgerald offices. Please RSVP. Now, it's not clear from any of the reporting I've seen if he attended. I would imagine he didn't. If Hillary Clinton was in the same room with Jeffrey Epstein at a fundraiser, I would think we would have known about that by now. People would have had pictures from that fundraiser. So maybe he declined. But Lutnick did invite him in 2015 to this fundraiser. And Epstein donated $50,000 to the UJA Federation, the United Jewish Appeal NGO, to honor Lutnick. They were honoring Lutnick for this celebration. Hi, Jeffrey. Many thanks for your incredible donation in honor of Howard Lutnick. Would you like to take an ad and offer your own words of congratulations in our commemorative journal? That would be pretty fun. Hey, wonderful meeting your kids.
Yeah.
Are you able to join us at the event itself on December 11th? And would you like to take a table inclusive of your generosity? Thank you. He declined on taking the table, saying that Lutnick could fill it and feeling that it would be a PR problem, which is kind of interesting. 50K for me. Hope PR is okay. So Thomas Massey, it's all one big club and you ain't in it. Epstein sponsored an event held by John Paulson to honor Howard Lutnick. John Paulson also appears in Epstein's Black Book. The kicker, John Paulson is given $250,000 to defeat me. Literally every fat cat after me is in the files. It really is starting to look that way. So as you could see, once again, where you see the red dot, that's where Epstein's place was, where Lutnick's place still is. And across the street there is the Frick. 2018, Howard Lutnick, who was so disgusted by Jeffrey Epstein in 2005, he never had anything to do with him again, gives him a heads up that they're going to be doing renovations at the Frick that might block his view, and he should do something about it. He should get a lawyer. I actually remember these renovations. They were doing them for several years.
And by view, we mean obviously the green there is Central Park. Views of Central Park are very coveted amongst high society New Yorker types.
Yes. Their relation.
You really fuck someone when you block your view at a park.
Yeah, well, actually, the Time Warner Center has that split.
Right.
That's why. It wasn't originally designed that way. It was supposed to be one thing. Their relationship continued into the next year, 2018, when Lutnick emailed Epstein apparently complaining about an expansion plan for their neighboring Frick Collection art museum. Lutnick warned Epstein that the renovation might block your sunlight and views. You should put in a letter. I'm sending a lawyer. Don't ignore this, Lutnick wrote to Epstein. You know, that sounds like a pretty close relationship that you're reaching out to him about. You know, you better get on this. Your view's going to get blocked. So Ted Lieu here. Secretary Howard Lutnick must resign. He's despicable for vacationing on Epstein Island with child rapist Jeffrey Epstein. He's despicable for going on national TV and lying about his relationship with Epstein. What else is Lutnick hiding? Quite a bit, I would assume. Now, you know how demoralized MAGA is? You want to see how demoralized MAGA is? This was the best that old banana eater Gunther Eagleman could come up with. Stop being stupid.
Yeah, stop
being stupid. That's pretty diffident from him. It's
Yeah.
pretty diffident. And hardly got any views, too, in 9 hours. Hardly anybody even looked at that. They, rats fleeing the sinking ship. So Gen X girl gave a little timeline, and something she pointed out here that made me track it down. During 2021, reported for Epstein money laundering. During Trump's transition, it was reported that Lutnick was derailing the transition political appointments to his advantage. That would not surprise me, but in terms of the money laundering, she's talking about this. There was actually a whistleblower who claimed to have all of these documents. This is going to come up in the next segment too, showing that Lutnick was using his charities for personal profit. Redacted believes he has supporting documents which could link Lutnick to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell and Sarah Ferguson, a royal family member, host events called La Dolce Vita parties, where high-profile celebrities and executives contribute large donations to attend. The donations are linked to causes involving children. Lutnick made huge donations to these events. Epstein also sold Lutnick a house for $10 through a trust fund, which was then sold for millions shortly after, prior to the money going overseas. Redacted stated he has multiple regulatory reporting documents he can provide to an agent to substantiate his claims. Redacted would like to speak to an agent to better and more thoroughly outline and tie everything together. Now, this, of course, we have no way of knowing. That sounds pretty legit. This is not like some of this reporting from tip lines that couldn't be followed up. Like, this is a source who wanted to meet with an agent who claimed to have supporting documents. We don't have anything beyond that. But there's been a lot of reporting on, dirty finance around Lutnick. Frankly, I would be shocked if there weren't. I would be shocked if that guy was not, as crooked as a bent nail. But yeah, and this I'll get into in the next segment. I don't think in my lifetime the entire ruling class has been so discredited. You can really feel that mood in the air, that something about this last release really did change things. And of course, that's dropping in an atmosphere of lawlessness, of an out of control government, of people being shot in the face. It's just, yeah, like it seems like this drop of 3 million and what it's revealed was kind of a straw that broke the camel's back. The public has completely lost faith in the idea that their elites deserve their position. And that's very dangerous for them, because particularly in America, the whole system depends on the public being brainwashed into accepting the unacceptable. And that's why the brainwashing is so constant and so intense from birth. This basic premise that you live in a meritocratic society, that it's the greatest country on earth, and for the smarter people, you feed them it's the worst system there is, except for all the other bullshit. And it's so obviously not true if you step back for a second. But when you're in that society and you're born and raised in it, it's very hard to step back. I mean, that propaganda comes at people from every direction, and you've got a different way of approaching every personality type. If you have the people who are kind of like just educated enough that you need to give them a more complicated explanation for why everything is so shitty, but it has to be that way. You got the Atlantic, you got the New York Times to massage their brain into complicity and submission. And, for the pissed off working class, you got Fox, you got Newsmax, you come at it that way. And you know what they all agree on? Nobody should get a living minimum wage. Isn't it funny? They come to the same conclusion from their
One state just lowered the
propaganda. It's
minimum
supposed to be
wage.
so different.
They
I
actually
know.
lowered it.
I know.
Nebraska just lowered
I know.
it for young. I
I
think it
know.
was
They
Nebraska. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Epstein files combined with what's happening under Trump, but this really just blew up the whole myth that our leaders deserve their position. It blew it up for, I think, a lot of the peasant minds. I think it's very hard for them now to be like to see the billionaires as benign or deserving. And I think it blew it up even for a lot of the libs, man, because come on, man. You're Bill Gates. The libs love Bill Gates. Come on, man. You think he didn't do that shit? Everyone's implicated, and what it implies about the whole way that our system works, it's you have to be very willfully blind not to see that you're being ruled by out of control criminals that hate you and think you're an idiot.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the other thing to remember is that, no one in this administration wanted any of you to see any of these files. They said there was nothing to see here. They were done. And to one of our super chatters questions about the efficacy of voting and why I said, voting can be useful in certain circumstances and contexts, depending on many factors, obviously. But if it weren't for that 218th vote, which passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, we wouldn't be seeing these files. It's just a fact. That's just a fact. You can feel about that how you want. But if you didn't have that 218th vote, you wouldn't have seen any of this. None of it. None of it. So what that means is that no, voting is not always useless, right? It is always insufficient, I would say, but it's not always useless. And like I said, there are a lot of factors that go into that, depending on where you are and who the candidates are, all that stuff, right? But in this case, it's a simple fact. We wouldn't be seeing any of this if we didn't get that 218th vote to pass this, and if we didn't have Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna sort of working together on this, which gave enough Republicans what they needed to come over and join most of the Democrats for it. So, that is an example of politics actually mattering to a certain extent. I mean, I think that's just undeniable. But yeah, man, I mean, this obviously just shows broad-based complicity of an entire class of people. It's not just about this administration. It's not about Washington, D.C. You know, Vera Wang, all these fucking people love Jeffrey Epstein. None of them give a shit. None of them care about abusing the peasants. That's what it is. They don't care that, some young girls were flown out. Were they 18? Were they 17? Were they 16, 15? Who cares? Yeah, he likes them young. He's rich.
They were from poor families.
They're from poor families. They're peasants. That's ultimately the big divide here, is that no one of a certain class status gives a shit about anyone underneath them. And that's it. That's it. That is just what is revealed.
It's an old story, man. The aristocracy using the peasant girls for sex.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. All right. Vianticus winning, fulfilling the wishes of the oligarch class before the opposing political team can, i.e., we took away gun rights before Democrats did. We're winning. Thank you, Vianticus. You guys keep pronouncing superb owl wrong. Huh? Good one. Mark Pugliese. Wasn't Tony Hinchcliffe Andy Kaufman's alter ego? No, Tony Hinchcliffe is the no, I know who you're thinking of. Who was the
Tony Clifton?
Tony Clifton. That's right, wasn't he? Yeah, Hinchcliffe is the Austin guy, the guy who did the floating garbage island at the rally. Yeah, Tony Clifton was the Andy Kaufman alter ego. Cracker is our word, Russ. Southern word. The Anticus Prime. Hi, Jake in the booth. Look at that. Jake gets a shout out. Miserable Lib. I'm with you, Keaton. I'm looking forward to woke halftime to piss MAGA off. Fuck you. The only way they could top that bunny is to have Nicki Minaj perform and Trump pull out her titty. Huh? Good one. Good one. Mark Pugliese. Hey, you guys. In my district, New Jersey 11, an anti-Zionist beat a Zionist for the Dem nod. I heard something about a primary going the right way. I didn't look into it as much, but good to know, Mark Pugliese. Thank you for that. So Jews are 2% of the U.S. and 30% of the super rich. Best in class, mazel tov per chat GPT prompt, richest 1%. Bronx Comrade, thanks for the laughs and spot-on analysis. Independence in New York 15. You have until February 14th to register as a Democrat. Hold your nose to vote for Jose Vega in the Dem primary. Yeah, if you want to vote for Jose in the Bronx and you're an independent, you got to change your registration by this week. Do it this week. All right, you got some super chats over there?
Sure do. Jolly Man Big Boy. I wonder if the Trump Russia P tape is real at this point. I would find it funny if it was, because it would discredit Matt Taibbi back when he was based. I think it's probably not.
Probably not.
Alex Das Lieb. I realize the only way Schumer will consider helping U.S. citizens is if convinced Trump is toxic and harming Jeff E.'s beloved nation's reputation. Yeah, well, Schumer, he gave that. We never really got to that. Schumer gave that whole thing about how it's the job of everyone in Congress, right?
Yeah.
To protect Israel. Jolly Man Big Boy. This Super Bowl gives off the impression that this is the scene in the movie where the villain launches his evil plan while all eyes are on the game. I think you're thinking of Bane. You're thinking of Bane, I think.
Israel did launch attacks, though, on Super Bowl Sunday in years past. Yeah, they definitely.
Did they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You are being ruled by pedophiles. Why don't you revolt? Scruffy Swamp Yankee. Thank you guys for the work you do. Started listening over the last year as a Revolutionary War reenactor. I'm worried about the BS this administration will spin for the 250th. Well, I mentioned that the other day, man. This is very low key compared to the bicentennial I remember for when I was 6. That shit was plastered wall to wall, man. Rox Monroe. I can't believe the celeb guests you guys have had on recently. RFK Jr., Donald Trump, Dan B, Chomsky, and Taibbi. You guys are killing. I take it you're only listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Jolly Man Big Boy, Tom McDonald. He's been around for a little bit. Who's that?
I'm not sure.
Brad Gilbert, not saying they can't, but that they won't until what? Until what? Mike Roast became a YouTube member. Mike Roast 99. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike Roast.
Thank you, Mike Roast. Race Car K. Hey, regarding the El Monterey frozen burrito 8-packs commonly sold in grocery stores, after lots of personal testing, I can confirm the blue pack is best, purple very good, green acceptable, orange not good. Ew. Ew. Heinz Ryman. They want us to ID to force us to self-censor. We're already ID'd, man. We're already ID'd. They know who you are. They already know. The fat ack. You know, when Lutnick said that our beef is beautiful, I didn't know he meant the beef in his pants until the Epstein files dump release.
They hate our beef.
Sphincter Knucklebuster. Butt Lick Strange. You guys are awesome. For being here. Thanks for being here. Wings is the best at band ever.
Best
what do you
at band?
Band?
I don't know what you mean by at
You
band.
mean art band?
All
right, last one. Truth Seeker. Gen X here. Russell, were you a hood in the 80s? Rock on, dude. Love the show. I was a hood. You know, I was thinking about this today. I don't know why. So, you know, I went to Brooklyn Tech, and I was fucking it was an enormous school. There were 5,000 kids in this high school. And this is right out of Karate Kid. Like, kids like this really exist. There was a kid bullying a friend of mine, and he goes, he really said this. I could kill you 5 ways with each finger. and he went and started digging into my friend's clavicle. And we were in the cafeteria, and I said, I could kill you 1 way with 5 fingers, motherfucker. And I put my fist through the window right next to me. That school was so big, they never found me. I got out of the cafeteria. I was never found, but I never saw that kid again. He never walked the way that I walked again. I never saw him. Good times.
Good times. Oh, to be young. All right. Let's move right on along here. Got a big crowd in here, 2953 in the YouTube chat. Please smash that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. That's super important. Thanks very much. Nice crowd filing in over on Rumble too, 784. All right, folks, this is a quick one, but I thought this was important to point out in light of other recent Epstein revelations. Statement announcing Jeffrey Epstein's death emerges from files, but it's dated a day before he self-deleted. What? What's that about? A federal statement announcing Jeffrey Epstein's death has surfaced in newly released Justice Department files, but it carries a date that appears to precede the moment he was officially found dead inside his New York prison cell. The document, issued by the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York and dated Friday, August 9th, 2019, states that Epstein had already been found unresponsive and pronounced dead. But prison records and official accounts show Epstein was not discovered unresponsive until the morning of August 10th, 2019, when a corrections officer delivering breakfast found him in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. So yeah, here is the statement of Manhattan attorney on the death of defendant Jeffrey Epstein, dated Friday, August 9th, 2019. I remember it was definitely discovered on a Saturday because I was teaching an acting class at a local community center when that text came across. I will always remember where I was. Saturday morning. So Clint Russell tweets, couldn't believe this was real. So I double checked the DOJ site. It's real. U.S. Attorney Berman announced Epstein's death with letterhead dated the day before he was found dead. It gets weirder. Bill Barr announced Berman's resignation less than a year later. Berman denied he was resigning and was then removed by Barr on June 20th, 2020. Trump denied any involvement, but it was confirmed by later reporting that, in fact, it was Trump who had Berman removed. This rabbit hole is endless. In addition to that, we have this. This really went viral. This went everywhere. So Heather C. tweets out a portion of the Epstein files. This is huge. The individual who anonymously posted on 4chan the morning of Epstein's death, August 10th, 2019, claiming he witnessed weird happenings at the prison before Epstein's death has been identified in the Epstein files. Roberto Grijalva, an officer at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, has been identified as the anonymous prison employee who posted on 4chan claiming Epstein left his cell Friday evening shackled in a medical wheelchair, while at the same time an unauthorized trip van arrived at the prison, which he believes took Epstein away the night before news broke of his death. The day after Epstein's death, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman of the Southern District of New York opened a grand jury proceeding and subpoenaed 4chan, Apple, AT&T, and Citibank for records aiming to uncover Grijalva's identity following the anonymous 4chan post. Grijalva's name is not redacted on his bank records, including in the SDNY subpoena response from Citibank for his 4chan post, and ties to the same prison officer, Roberto Grijalva, whose statements were released as part of the prison's investigation into Epstein's death. This is huge. We now have validation. The 4chan post from August 10th, 2019 is a legitimate eyewitness account from an MCC prison officer that Epstein may have been switched out before news broke of his alleged suicide. So here it is. Not saying anything after this. Please do not try and dox me. But last night, after 0415 count, they took him medical in a wheelchair, front cuffed, but not one triage nurse said they spoke to him. Next thing we know, a trip van shows up. We do not do releases on the weekends unless judge orders it. Next thing we know, he's put in a single man cell and hangs himself. Here's the thing. The trip van did not sign in, and we did not record the plate number. And a guy in a green dress military outfit was in the back of the van, according to the tower guy who let him through the gate. You guys, I am shaking right now, but I think they switched him out. So says essentially the same thing here. Here you can see the signature, Roberto Grijalva. Once again, United States government memorandum from Roberto Grijalva. Fast forward to May, and suddenly Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are declaring firmly that Epstein killed himself. Remember when they said they saw all the files and that the evidence was conclusive? I remember.
Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work.
You've seen the whole file. Well, what in these files is cold hard proof that he? I'm sorry. What in these files is cold hard proof that he's actually dead, much less that he killed himself? Because you know what, Occam's razor is starting to look less like he was murdered and more like the motherfucker is still alive. And don't take it from me, Thomas Massie, sitting congressman, actually thought to poll his followers on this question: did Jeffrey Epstein delete himself? Look at the official narrative polling at 2.9%. But look at the winner, far and away. A large plurality say he is still alive. See, I was the responsible journalist in that instance, and I voted just show the results because I just wanted to see what everybody else thought. I took the Gunther Eagleman way out on that one. You know, I said, let me just put my finger in the wind here and see which way it blows. Yes, very, very squirrely by me there. But yeah, man, it's starting to look like he might not be dead after all, and I'm not alone in that. When you think of, okay, what is Occam's razor? Is Occam's razor that they had someone go in there and whack him? Or is Occam's razor that they just moved him and that he's alive in Israel or somewhere else right now? I mean, when you think about it, it's not really that much more far-fetched than to think that he was murdered. I don't really think so. Like, to me, you could say that, okay, maybe the date thing was a typo. Maybe it was an innocent mistake. Seems like a very high-profile mistake to make in that context. Add to that, this guy's saying he saw a van pull up and he thinks that they swapped him out, combined with the millions of files that are still yet to be released, that might not ever be released. Yeah, man, I don't think it's far-fetched to think the guy is alive somewhere. I really don't. I really don't think that's any crazier than thinking someone murdered him or that he offed himself, to be honest. Like, to me, the story that he self-deleted is by far the least plausible, given everything that has happened since, including, obviously, that ridiculous video, which does not show a clear path in and out of his cell. We did a whole breakdown in this. In fact, CBS News, and I guess the pre-Barry Weiss era, did that whole breakdown, which we covered very thoroughly, about how the video they released that ostensibly proved that the official story was accurate turned out not to prove any such thing. There was a path in and out of that cell that would have been totally obstructed by that camera view. So at that point, you have to think, really, what's crazier? What's crazier? Is the theory that he's still alive really any crazier than that someone killed him? I don't think so.
My question is, why keep him alive? He's obviously not of any use anymore.
It's totally possible
So
they killed him. I'm just saying,
why would you go to all that trouble to keep him alive?
Totally possible too.
You're gonna get fucking Jim Morrison sightings for the next 20 years. Like, why?
You're talking
Why would
about a
they
guy
do
who's
that?
intelligence, though, right? I mean, you're talking about a guy who's connected.
Yeah, but he's
Here's the thing.
not any use to them anymore.
Yeah, but why would I mean
He's
that
a
just begs the
liability.
question?
Like, why would you keep him alive?
Who knows? Who knows? But to me, it's not so crazy to think that he may be out there somewhere. Who knows? Who knows what kind of power the guy has? Like, who knows? Who knows what networks he's really tapped into? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe you don't betray your own in that way. It certainly stinks. Certainly stinks when you add together little superficial details like that. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I've had a head for these things for more than my entire adult life. I've had a head for these things for 30 years. I don't know, man. Starting to look fishy. Starting to look fishy to me.
Maybe.
Maybe. That's Russell's take. Maybe. Could be. Could be.
Maybe. I just don't see a motive.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to say, but I mean,
It's a
look, the
big
date.
pain in the ass to keep this, world's most famous sex trafficker hidden.
He certainly is a liability.
guys in
That's for
natural
sure.
death.
Well, look, that's my guess. My guess is, and look, 46%. That's my guess. But obviously the date mix up, if we take that as an innocent mistake, that's one thing. I think we could also take that as, very similarly to when news broke on TV that Building 7 had fallen long before it had actually fallen. Could be one of those type of things too.
Maybe.
Could be how you're reporting this a day in advance. I don't know, man. It like that by itself. If that were the only suspicious thing, I would say, yeah, it's probably a typo. It's one of many. It's one of many. So I don't know. We'll have to see if we'll have to see what Michael Tracy thinks about all this.
Yeah, we need to get him back on.
Yeah, we need to.
He,
Yeah,
he
we'll
was,
bring
he
him
was
back.
a big hit with our audience.
Yeah, we'll bring him back on. Yeah, talk about this.
They love that guy.
All right. Let's move right on along. Here we got one more segment on the day. EO Shush says Whitney Webb has been radio silent since the release of the Epstein files. No podcast, no unlimited hangouts, no tweets, no nothing. Strange for someone who built their career on this. Yeah, man. I mean, hey, sometimes look, Michael Tracy. Michael Tracy just hung back, and basked in the glory of this release. Hey, maybe she's doing the same thing. Maybe she's just, soaking it all in. I mean, what does she have to say? I mean, I think this validates a lot of what she's been saying. So, maybe she's just letting it happen. Sir Bikes a lot. I'm not going to throw Aaron Mate under the bus. We need to realize as activists, money in our old age will be an issue, and people like Epstein will prey on us. We need to realize as activists, money in our old age will be an issue. Do you get is that a joke of some kind?
I mean, what? You saying Chomsky needed Epstein's money?
He needed money? Will you guys be commenting on Glenn's leaving Rumble? Do you buy his explanation? Well, yeah, I totally buy his explanation.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so Glenn had a 3-year deal with Rumble. No, I have no reason not to buy it. Why would I not buy it? It seems like totally legit. I mean, he said he's still doing his show, but he's only going to do it intermittently. He's not going to keep a 5-show schedule per week, and he's going to post his video. He's basically, his deal with Rumble ended to do a nightly show 5 days a week. And so rather than renew, he's going back to Substack where he could do more writing and multimedia posting. No, what he said was basically, when I took this job, friends in the business who do nightly news shows warned me that if I do this, I'm not going to be able to do anything else. You're not going to be able to write. You're not going to be able to do the kind of reporting that you usually do. And he said, I didn't really believe them, but turns out they were correct. And, he misses writing, which is
5 days. Yeah.
No, you can't. I mean, it's 2. We do 3 days. We don't blog anymore because how can we? So yeah, no, I mean, that makes total sense. And it's kind of exciting for Glenn because I've always thought he was an outstanding writer. I mean, his show is great, but assuming he gets to do a little of both now, I think that is definitely a plus. So he's still going to post videos to Rumble and YouTube the way he always does. But he'll also be going back to Substack as sort of his home. Which, yeah, to me sounds like a good thing because I miss reading his stuff. I used to read his stuff all the time, and yeah, doing a nightly show means you can't write anymore. So I think that's good. Oh, George, love everything as always. Did you guys hear that someone looking notoriously akin to Mr. Epstein was sighted with 2 guards in Tel Aviv? I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that picture.
Yeah, that's the sort of Abbey Road album cover from hell. You want?
Yeah.
I should go check it out. Yeah, it's an hour by train. Yeah, I mean, the thing about that is it just seems too coincidental that photo would surface in conjunction with these Epstein files drops. That makes me think that's a little fishy. So yeah, I'm not that crazy. I'm not that crazy. But yeah, no, man, I gotta say, I lean toward Massey's followers there. I'm gonna say he's probably alive somewhere. I think Russell is Jeffrey Epstein. That's what I think. Maybe you are Epstein.
Yeah, why is that?
Think about it. He's in Asia now. Think about it. You leave the country and these files come out. It's very suspicious.
That is fishy. I'll give you that.
That is fishy. It's a little weird. It's a little weird.
You're blowing up my spot here, man.
Wouldn't you think that Epstein had a dead man switch, forcing them to protecting and keeping him alive? Maybe. Yeah. I mean, that could be.
Maybe. I mean,
There you
that's
go.
at least that's a possible explanation.
That's a possible explanation. It's better than I came up with. Hey, Russ, I had a bicentennial lunchbox. Not a gangster, but definitely a propagandized dork. Here we go.
See, that's where we parted ways. One of my clearest memories of I never talk about this, man. Some people have. Mad Magazine was really subversive back in those days. And I definitely, as a kid, absorbed that way of looking at things first from Mad Magazine. Like, I can remember having issues of Mad Magazine that were completely trashing the bicentennial.
Right.
And it gave me that concept from an early age that the things you're supposed to believe in aren't necessarily something you should believe in.
Right.
Like, you can make fun of these things. I think Mad Magazine, actually, it's unsung. It had a big impact on society, on a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it certainly did. It certainly did. Yeah, it is. You're right. It is kind of that forgotten thing. All right. What do we got over here? You want to go right to the last segment and then we'll do the rest of our chants?
Did I do any?
Did you do any? I don't know.
I don't think I did them.
Maybe
No,
not.
I don't
All right,
think I
read it.
did.
No, you should do a few.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're jipping them. Jolly Man Big Boy. Trump only made a monkey video as a Google search diversion in case a Trump monkey video from the Epstein files came out. If that is true, 4D chess.
That would be some 4D chess. I'll give him that.
He's a very stable genius.
Yes, that would be very brilliant.
Turk Yardu, voting matters. Keep voting Uniparty. Sheeple. You sheeple. Hack and Slash. You should check out an article in American Journal News about Steve Bannon's meth and porn house in Opeechee Drive.
In
American Journal News? I mean, that sounds like an article that would be very entertaining.
Yeah.
American Journal News. Okay. SavMad. If they have all the technology already, what they don't have is the laws or framework. Have you heard of the Patriot Act? You've heard about that, right? Yes, they do. Wouldn't that be the reason for Real ID, the thing and the laws to send us to the newly built centers? Listen, man, they don't need to do it in that kind of an overt way that's going to get a lot of pushback. They're doing just fine now. They're doing just fine. Very gradually culling the herd, poisoning people. More and more people are dying off. Deaths of despair, lowering lifespan. They're getting rid of the peasants just fine. They don't got to go through all that. J.D. Santis, thanks for the early show. Thanks for your dedication to the show and the audience to make the shows while you travel, Russ. Love you both very much. Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Thank you very much.
Brad Gilbert. So Roberto isn't redacted? Shaking my effing head. Epstein didn't kill himself. He ain't dead. He's drinking with Charlie in Valhalla on Goat Island. By the way, Goat equals Satan. You're not allowed to say that about Charlie, don't you know? He's a saint now.
That's right.
He's a saint. You can't say bad things about him. All right.
All right. We got one more, and then we're going to Rumble for the Q&A.
All right. This is the big one.
All right.
All right. What does it all mean? What is the meaning of all of these files and what they have revealed? Oh, whoops. Hang on.
Hold on. You can do it here.
What?
You can skip right to the beginning without showing all of them.
Oh, how do you do that?
Just click on the slide number and the pull-up menu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You'll have to show me that later. Okay. So, rich billionaires are very compassionate. They serve humanity through their foundations. They go around everywhere oozing so much humanitarianism that it feels like they'll burst from the pressure of it all. They distribute vaccines for various diseases all over the world. They work on climate change. They remain humanitarians only until their name and photo appear in the Epstein files. Yes, there has been a lot of writing about this, how philanthropy is really a smokescreen for usually financial criminals, and also to distract you from wealth extraction and the tax system that really does not force them to pay their fair share. So they do philanthropy in order to diffuse that. But the Epstein files puts a whole different spin on what they're up to, what they're covering up with that philanthropy. Billionaire philanthropists face scrutiny as names emerge from Epstein documents. So let's look at what all this has revealed about our virtue signaling ruling class. There's Bill Gates with redacted. We don't know who that is. We covered this the other night. Amongst many other things in the Epstein files is Epstein. He wrote this to himself. We can't prove if this is true or not. Seems like it is, particularly given Melinda Gates's reaction when asked about this. To add insult to the injury, this is Jeffrey Epstein speaking to Bill Gates. Apparently, they were having some kind of falling out around, it seems like, Melinda demanding that he end their relationship. To add insult to the injury, you then implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD, your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your penis. To be fair, I think we're all glad that he made you delete the description of Bill Gates's penis.
Yes.
You also made, that's something we can live with.
That was very prescient on his part.
Yes, we appreciate that. You also made it clear to me that I am not to refer to redacted, as that is another topic that must remain between the two of us. Now, the Gates Foundation is from the article. A philanthropy with assets and an endowment of $86 billion denied the allegations of affairs as, quote, absolutely absurd and completely false in a statement published in the New York Times. Gates's philanthropic arm was formerly a joint enterprise with ex-wife Melinda French Gates. She ended her 24-year leadership of the foundation in 2024. According to the New York Times, French Gates privately raised concerns over her ex-husband's links to Epstein. Bill Gates is also alleged to have pursued women who worked at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, as it was named at the time before French Gates's departure. It is also alleged that Bill Gates engaged in inappropriate behavior multiple times while spearheading arguably the world's most powerful philanthropy. Now, you remember how Bill Gates, not elected during the COVID times, basically was like in charge of US health policy and very transparently lying. Whatever you think about the COVID vaccine, it's kind of beside the point in regard to this. Bill Gates was claiming that they could not release the intellectual property of the vaccine because they don't know how to make vaccines in the third world. They can't make vaccines there, even though they have perfectly capable vaccine manufacturing plants. He just lied about that. He just lied to cover for, Pfizer and Moderna because they didn't want to lose their profits. But he was celebrated, by mostly the libs as being this, hero who's going to save us, a great authority. And this is who these people actually are behind the scenes. They're criminals. And then, of course, we just covered that previously. Epstein, Howard Lutnick, business partners in business together, next door neighbors, visiting his island after claiming that he had no dealings with him after 2005. And here's Lutnick's philanthropy. Lutnick's next net worth is estimated to be around $2.7 billion. His philanthropy includes the Counter Fitzgerald Relief Fund, which raised $180 million for the families of those that died in the 9/11 attack, as well as funding hurricanes and natural disaster recovery. Well, you know what else? We got into this a little bit in the previous segment, but we didn't read through this section here. Redacted, calling from the redacted, previously worked for Redacted and Cantor Fitzgerald in the financial market and was responsible for reviewing, reporting, and compliance for all of North America. Redacted uncovered fraud, money laundering, Ponzi schemes, and regulatory breaches by Redacted and CF, meaning Cantor Fitzgerald. So he became a whistleblower. Redacted and CF received large fines, and there are live cases still occurring in the United Kingdom. Further investigation by Redacted linked Howard Lutnick in illegal activities with JP Morgan, Russian hedge funds, and other senior executives in the financial business. Redacted has documented proof showing money laundering and Ponzi schemes by Lutnick via offshore shell companies, liquid funding, and real estate brokerage firms. Redacted is using a global Ponzi scheme, share scheme involving over 3,500 BGC employees who were forced to contribute 10% of their earnings into the scheme. Lutnick is deeply rooted to the royal family and has multiple high-profile and celebrity connections. Lutnick claims to be a philanthropist, but is merely using his charities as a smokescreen for his illegal activity. Many of the individuals involved in Lutnick's charities have criminal breaches against them. And again, as we mentioned with the other part of this in the last segment, this isn't like an anonymous call to a tip line that can't be confirmed. This is an actual whistleblower who requested to meet with agents claiming to have documentation. So far, this is 3 million files they released. It would be interesting to see if there's any follow-up on this, but this is all we have on this for now. Or how about this? You remember Obama, as soon as he got in office, he took payoffs. It was one of the first things he did was go party with Richard Branson, much to the joy of Trevor Noah, the rest of the liberal class. Remember Trevor Noah told you to F yourself if you thought there was anything wrong with Obama cashing in because he's black or something. So how dare you expect him to be the not corrupt one? The rest of them do it. You're holding him to a different standard. That was his argument. There he is partying with Richard Branson right after he got out of office. Branson also had dealings with Epstein, some very interesting ones. So this is from Jeffrey Epstein to Richard Branson. Nice seeing you. Thanks for your hospitality. I appreciate your public relations thoughts. The head of the Nobel Peace Prize Committee, Thornborn Jagland, will be staying in New York with me the week of the 20th of September. He has to raid some villages on the coast before he gets here, but he should be here by the 20th. If you are there, you might find him interesting. 3, the previous trade was buying out of the money calls on oil and selling out of the money puts for a cashless transaction. Not bad. 4, have your guys find quants that will search the data available to your COS. I'm on the island till Christmas. Now listen. If you've been taught, as I was, hey, I'm American, right? That capitalism has its flaws, but it's better than any other system. Aren't you having a hard time believing that at this point? Because this is capitalism right here. What does he do? Is this productive? Is this doing anything for anybody? These people just move money around, do speculative gambling, and then use their political influence to get bailed out when they fuck up. That's it. That's your capitalism, right? he's talking about these, very elaborate kind of financial strategies to make money off the movements of the market. What is that? What is that? And what does that do for anybody? In theory, that's supposed to, efficiently allocate investment where it's supposed to go. But when you're talking about buying these puts and options, it's just gambling. It's just a casino. Like that's not even investment. You're literally just betting on the direction that the stock or commodity is going to go in. But here's really the banger from Richard Branson. Dear Jeffrey, it was really nice seeing you yesterday. The boys in water sports can't stop speaking about it. That's an interesting name. Anytime you're in the area, would love to see you as long as you bring your harem. 1, I think if Bill Gates was willing to say that you've been a brilliant advisor to him, that you slipped up many years ago by sleeping with a 17-and-a-half-year-old woman. You know what? I think we figured out who Michael Tracy's secret funding is coming from. And we're punished for it, that you've more than learned your lesson and have done nothing that's against the law since. And yes, as a single man, you seem to have a penchant for women. But there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, something along those lines. Now, another point I want to make here is this confirms, to some extent, the truths contained within these emails that Epstein was sending to himself about Bill Gates, in which he characterizes his relationship with Bill Gates as being very close and having been an advisor for many years. Why would Branson say that Bill Gates says he's a brilliant advisor to him if he didn't actually have that relationship with Bill Gates, which Bill Gates is trying to deny they had now, but clearly they had that relationship because he vouched for him to Richard Branson. 2, 20th September. Sadly, I'm in the UK for that week. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is the kind of people we're talking about, right? Hey, yeah, you like girls. That's fine. Well, you learned your lesson, right? It's okay. It's all good. Bill vouched for you. British billionaire philanthropist Richard Branson, founder of the famed Virgin Group, was also implicated in newly released files mandated by U.S. federal law. Branson's philanthropy includes his Branson Family Foundation and the Virgin Foundation. According to the UK Charity Commission, Virgin Unite reported a total income of approximately 21.49 million pounds for the financial period ending December 31st, 2024, spending roughly 18.09 million. Forbes estimates Branson's wealth to be 2.8 billion. Now, okay, man, this is like a hard thing to get past in your mind if you've been brainwashed to think things have to be this way or should be this way. Why should he have that money? It's a very simple question. Why should he have that money? Why is he allowed to have that money? Why are these people allowed to have this money? Why are these people allowed to have this position? Now, this is something that people generally won't even ask any more than people in the medieval era would question the divine right of kings, right? That's the way it is. It's the way it is. You don't even question that. But there are moments when the veil drops from people's eyes and they see that the power relationships in their society are completely arbitrary and they don't have to acquiesce to those relationships. This may be one of those times. And that is why I suggest you ask yourself that question. Why do we allow these people to have this money and this power? Does this fucking criminal deserve this money? Should he have it? To what good is it for humanity, for society, to let these people have this kind of money and the power that comes with it, which is really the most relevant part of it? Why should we live in a world where people don't have health care, where people don't have proper housing, so this scumbag can hang out with Jeffrey Epstein and Barack Obama? Be like, 17-year-old girl, well, you learned your lesson. You had your fun. You like women. That's all right. A spokesperson for the Virgin Group told UK newspaper The Independent that the word harem referred to 3 adult members of Epstein's team. Well, that makes it okay, I guess. They added that had the full facts about Epstein's past been known, Branson would not have used this term nor had contact with Epstein. Dan Price, one of capitalism's biggest PR scams is the philanthropist. The average billionaire donates 1% of their fortune to charity yearly, less than non-billionaires. But when you donate $200, you don't get glowing articles, a hospital named after you, and a massive tax write-off. Yep. Hey, look at this. Look at this freak. Look at this freak. This is one of the pictures that came out from the new drop. That's Prince Andrew. Now, believe it or not, there are women willing to fuck this guy without being drugged or coerced. This is one of them. This is Prince Andrew's former girlfriend, Lady Victoria Harvey. She says if you're not named in the Epstein files, that means you're a loser. She claims that in her elite social circle, anyone not mentioned in the Epstein files is viewed as insignificant. For Lady Victoria Hervey, child trafficking, child torture, and satanic rituals are a normal way of life. Let's see what she had to say.
Very powerful. So like if you were on the scene and you were powerful, like to be honest, like if you're not in those files, it would be an insult because it just means that you were a bit of a loser.
Right. So the people who aren't in the files are losers.
Yes.
Okay. Are you in the files?
Well, of course I am, because it's any journalist that wrote about it.
Well, that's what I've been saying. Of course, it's like a status symbol. This is like the new version of Googling yourself, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little insulted that we're not in the files.
Yeah.
Jimmy, why did Jimmy and Kirk get to be in the files?
You know what it is? It's anti-Semitism that we're not.
It's anti-Semitism. It's because they're prejudiced against Jews in this day and age. Imagine that.
Could you imagine that?
Imagine that. Afshin Ratanzi. Just when you thought the British establishment could not be more morally depraved and revolting. I ask again, I ask again, and this is really the point of this segment. Why do we allow these people to have what they have? Why? It's a very simple question. Why do we allow these people to enjoy these privileges? For what reason? Does this woman deserve what she has? So why don't we change the system and take it from her? It's a simple thing, right? You know that you're going right up against what power structures don't want you to ask. When once you start asking it, it's very obvious, but you're not supposed to ask that. That's like in medieval times saying, why should the king be the king? Right? It's blasphemy. You're not, why should she have this money?
Well, you
Why?
look at that. Look at the reaction to something as modest as Medicare for all, right? As a universal
Right.
healthcare, model that every
Right.
other country enjoys. And
Right.
that's because that's what that is. That is a political realignment. It's a realignment of political
Exactly.
and economic power.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so some other just wonderful people who have enormous wealth and power that we allow them to continue to have. Son of Norway crown princess to stand trial for allegedly graping 4 women. In the biggest scandal to rock Norway's monarchy, the son of Crown Princess Mette Marit goes on trial Tuesday accused of graping 4 women as well as drug and assault offenses. So how do you wind up being such a model citizen, this guy? This is from DD Geopolitics. The son whose mother asked Jeffrey Epstein about naked women wallpaper is the same man now on trial for graping 4 women. In 2012, Crown Princess Mette Marit emailed Epstein, "Is it inappropriate for a mother to suggest 2 naked women carrying a surfboard for my 15-year-old son's wallpaper?" Epstein, a convicted sex offender at the time, told her to let him decide. That son, Marius Borg Hoiby, now faces 38 criminal charges, including 4 counts of rape. Trial starts Tuesday. Historians called this the biggest scandal in Norway's 120-year royal history. That was before the Epstein files showed his mother appears over 1,000 times, visiting his Palm Beach house, taking his parenting advice, having his staff arrange her flights and drivers. The snowball has turned into an avalanche. And here's the email. Yeah, she's going back and forth asking for parenting advice with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't understand why, as a mother, you want to suggest naked women wallpaper for your 15-year-old son in the first place. Like, what is this? And why would you ask a convicted sex offender a question like that? But it gets better. Newly released documents in the Epstein case alleges Mette Marit, the Crown Princess of Norway, was pregnant by Epstein.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy got around. Okay, so this is back and forth between Boris Nikolic, I don't know who that is, and Epstein. Mette is a mess. What happened with Mette now? She wants to carry your kid? Whole day at meetings, just done with DARPA meeting since 9 a.m. You should schedule your trip to my island. Did you tell anyone about our Mette conversation? Marco, etc. YGL people. So we don't know. I mean, it sounds like they got a bun in the oven problem there that Epstein doesn't want to get out, and they're worried that she's going to have the kid. Strange twist. But this really sums up how the ruling class sees you. CEO of Barclays laughing with Epstein about the masses being distracted by bread and circuses instead of overthrowing the financial elite. You want to know why we are not Sao Paulo? Watch the TV ads on the Super Bowl. It's all about hip blacks and hip cars with white women. The group that should be in the streets has been bought off by Jay-Z. And this is from Jess Stanley, Blue Mountain Capital at that time, now the CEO of Barclays. All right, so you can't get a better example of how these people look at you. And you know what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And that's the point. They know you should rise up. They know you should rise up. And they're laughing at you for not rising up. They're looking at how weak and stupid you are. That's how they see you. Oh yeah, look at these peasants distracted by Jay-Z. They're not going to rise up against us.
Yeah, yeah.
Or-
Listen, that's all well and good. We still want we still want Bad Bunny's pussy tonight. You know, you're not gonna ruin that for me. Nobody's gonna ruin that. Nobody's taking that away from me.
No, you enjoy your bread and circuses, you peasant.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett very famously said, "There's class warfare, all right, but it's my class, the rich class, that's making war, and we're winning." He's being honest. Being honest. Here's Max Blumenthal on the Matt Gaetz show, summing up in his inimitable fashion, very succinctly, what these files reveal about how our system works.
Not necessarily partisan, and they often collude together in ways we never would have expected, like Jeffrey Epstein proposing sharing of a hot dog between Steve Bannon and Noam Chomsky. But they're united by certain things. They are morally depraved, as evidenced by Bill Gates's apparent revelation, which he's now denying, that he received STDs from various Russian girls the same year that his Bill and Melinda Gates Health Foundation launched a $100,000 condom challenge. While many of us who analyze these files and this whole scandal are called conspiracy theorists, key takeaway for me is what the late dissident political scientist Michael Parenti tried to emphasize in his famous talk, Conspiracy and Class Power, which is that the system that controls us, capitalism, is fundamentally at its base a conspiracy among elites. And the third takeaway is, who are those elites? Well, this is a transatlantic elite network in which Jeffrey Epstein found himself at the center, made connections with various intelligence-linked figures. He may have been kind of a con man, somehow became a billionaire. But in an exchange with Steve Bannon, where Bannon declares in 2018, Bannon said, "All roads lead through Beijing." Jeffrey Epstein countered, "All roads run through Tel Aviv." And that is emphasized in these emails as Epstein talks about sitting by the pool with Ron Lauder, one of the closest pro-Israel billionaires to both Netanyahu and now Donald Trump, sitting by the pool with him and Leon Black, or hanging out with his good friend Les Wexner, making deals on behalf of Ehud Barak, tipping him about a rising company founded by Peter Thiel called Palantir, which now forms the real basis of the American deep state, as well as Andreessen Horowitz, a firm that Epstein had heard about early on, which now effectively controls TikTok and is also at the center of the American deep state. There is a clear pro-Israel or Israeli flavor to Epstein's network.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Yep. That's who rules you. That's who rules you. I keep thinking of the Sean Connery line in The Untouchables. What are you prepared to do? That is the question of our times. Tim Dillon summed it up very well. He had a great monologue a couple weeks ago. It's not about right versus left. This is about people who want to herd you like cattle and take away your freedom and make you a number. And people who want to continue to have the autonomy and the ability to express themselves and the freedom they've had in the past. That's the real battle, man. These people want to crush you and bring you back to a medieval state, techno-feudalism, where they just sit at the top of that. We're 75% of the way there already. But you know what? We've had enough black pills for one night. We want to look at a little hopeful sign, little green shoots springing up from the Kmart, Walmart parking lot. Power to the people here. This pedophile billboard in Chicago featuring Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and others mentioned in the Epstein files is impressive work. And it really is. I'd like to know who did this. So this is being projected on a wall in Chicago. The Pedo Bowl, 5,300 mentions Donald Trump. Bill Gates, 2592. Steve Bannon, 2901. Bill Clinton, 1210. Kind of light, actually. Thought Bill would do better, right? And you got Prince Andrew, Peter Thiel. There's some music that goes with that, but it's probably copyrighted. We didn't want to mess with it. And now John Ossoff, I mean, from what I know about him and his voting record, he's a pretty melbatose Democrat. But he has had some moments. I remember a couple years ago, he made a kind of class-oriented speech that went kind of viral, got around a little bit. He just had a campaign rally where he very credibly and effectively made the kind of case the Democrats really should be making and following through on, which is the key. Again, I don't know a lot about his voting record in the Senate, but here's what he had to say.
We're told that MAGA was for working class Americans. You remember that? But this is a government of, by, and for the ultra-rich. It is the wealthiest cabinet ever. This is the Epstein Class ruling our country. They are the elites they pretend to hate. So prices are up, jobs are going away, Medicaid and school lunches are slashed, nursing homes are getting defunded. If you're Steve Bannon, and your pitch was Trump for the forgotten man and woman, how do you sell any of this? Trump was supposed to fight for the working class. Instead, he's literally closing rural clinics and hospitals to cut taxes for George Soros and Elon Musk. He was supposed to end the globalist world police foreign policy. Instead, we're doing war for oil and nation building again and threatening to conquer Greenland. He was supposed to drain the swamp. Instead, this is the most corrupt administration of all time, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
So, hey, those are good words. They need to be backed up by action, but it's certainly a sign of the times that you have a Democrat speaking that way, and that you have a clip like that going viral. The MAGA movement, what's left of it, could be blown over by a hard wind. If you had an entire Democratic Party that took that position and followed through with it, it would be done. It would be done. You'd even win over a lot of the people who are still in it for lack of anywhere else to go to feel empowered if you really, really did this. And it's so obvious that that is a political winner with the majority of the public, that seeing how much of a novelty that is should really be instructive in how propagandized we are, in how much effort, how much money has been put into corporate media propaganda, propaganda in the education system to marginalize ideas like that. And really, this is the greatest trick that's been pulled off, you know, really starting with Nixon and coming to fruition with Reagan, to get the kind of working class people that kind of rhetoric is aimed at to be hostile to that kind of rhetoric as socialism. It didn't used to be that way, man. It didn't used to be that way. You listen to Teamster speeches from the 60s, they sound like they're walking out of the Politburo. These speeches are like class and distribution of wealth. That took a lot of effort from a concentration of rich people with a plan. You go back to the Powell memo, 1971, I believe that was. They laid it out, man, that business was going to stop taking a passive role. They were going to concentrate their money on controlling media and controlling the discourse. And they did it. That's why you got to a point where what Ossoff is saying there, man, that would have been very conventional left politics until about 40, 50 years ago. They started really pouring money into brainwashing people. That is the reason that I love the rhetoric. Is he going to follow through? Would the Democrats follow through? At this point, this is where I say I've been radicalized, even over the course of doing the show. A lot of people made the case back when we were kind of like Sanders, kind of, sort of Democrats. The system's not reformable. I believe that at this point, based on everything that I'm seeing. It's too corrupt. It's too far gone. Even if you got somebody talking what Ossoff is talking who meant it, they're either going to break you or they're going to kill you before they're ever going to let you assume office. You're either going to get your mind right or you're not going to get there. That is what I believe at this point about the system. See, this was supposed to be the uplifting part. Okay, so to go back to the uplifting part, it's in your hands, man. Because in the end, they are scared of you. Even this criminal administration is pulling ICE agents out of Minnesota. Why? Because the public scared them enough that they did it. That's it. No John Ossoff is going to come in on a white horse. You've got to scare the living shit out of these people. To quote V for Vendetta, people should not be afraid of their government. Government should be afraid of their people. And you need to ask yourself, why do we allow these people to have this money and privilege? They certainly don't deserve it. And if you allow it to continue, you're no different than a serf, man. You're no different than a serf that bends their back and works the soil for the lords. And this is how it's always been. That's how it has to be. And what am I going to do about it?
Well, yeah, it's not a question of John Ossoff doing something. It's just, when you think about an analysis of that as an Epstein class, that's really what it is. It's a class.
Oh, yeah. It's a great speech. Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's take some super chats and some Rumble rants, and then we will head on out. $1 Million Trooper, while we can only speculate as to the motive for keeping Jeffrey Epstein alive, certainly seems possible he would have blackmail on people above him that would be released upon his death. Yes, I agree. Epstein is living in Kim Phibby's old apartment in Moscow. Professor Brown notes, so my AI agent read Moby Dick, Ulysses, and Sartre in French on the weekend. I feel smarter every week. Writing 50 novels next week, starting modestly. They'll be like those guys, but better. Vianticus.
Edward Snowden is just sharing a bed with Epstein with, the head to foot thing. Sleep the opposite way.
I still have.
When are you getting him his own apartment?
I still have a copy of the Mad Magazine board game. Fun times. Thank you, Vianticus. TPS report. Watch for elderly extra in Bad Bunny Super Bowl show saying he escaped. Prison begs BB to take him to Puerto Rico and says you could supply lots of young kids for BB's act. We're heading to becoming Morlocks and Eloy. Guess which one we are to be. Eric Rousseau sounds like old Bill Gates needs a transhuman penis. One of the more fascinating aspects of the Epstein files is that the billionaires don't actually seem to be having that much fun considering how much wealthier they are than us. Thank you, Kevin. Kim Iverson segment recently on government-mandated kill switches in vehicles looking like next Canadian trucker strike or similar in future won't go far, and be careful what you say about BB when driving. Eric, EO Shush, so just like the wealth tax, if the billionaires can't play in the playground and have baby-eating yacht parties, they'll continue to Florida and Israel. Thank you, EO Shush. All right, go ahead. Take some super chats.
All right, we had a lot come in. Brad Gilbert, if you kill your assets, no one will agree to be future asset. If he served well, you save him to preserve faith. Keaton wins this Jew dissonance round. I mean, maybe. Jolly Man Big Boy, Tom McDonald is the rapper Keaton was talking about. Nong Nong Nong. I've been saying he's alive since the first day. Extortionists use dead man switches and they work. Okay. Royan Roke 8. Chomsky was just doing research. Without Bound Snow. I had no idea how much football and Jesus were intertwined. They should just swap out the field goals for giant crosses and kick the ball into Jesus' mouth every time. 5 points, though. Richard Pemberton. The reason to let Epstein live would be if he told them he had info stashed away, which his agents would release in the event of his death. Yeah, look, if they did that, that would be the only reason that I could see. Like Aspira de Corpse, I don't think these people think that way. Brad Gilbert, Natalie Clayton Morris are everywhere in Epstein file. Yeah. Jolly Man Big Boy, did you see Nick Cruz's story about the Fortnite account that Epstein used is currently active in Israel and it went private once the info got out? I did see that. Hack and Slash sent you an email with links regarding Steve Bannon's porn and meth house. Please read it and share your thoughts. Thanks. Oh, I am definitely reading that shit. I got a long day tomorrow. I think I'm going to be hanging around the airport for like 5 hours. So. Wasim Garani, YouTube show called Bituation Room. Isn't that Francesca?
I think so, yeah.
Is claiming reps of Branson emailed her basically to stop talking or I'm suing you regarding Epstein. I believe it. Wasim Garani. Funny he named his company Virgin. Have you seen the creepy video of him with Selma Hayek on an old Conan O'Brien show? Conan felt really uncomfortable. I haven't seen that.
I have not seen that, no.
Brad Gilbert, we pay a portion of their donation. Their charities then buy from their for-profit businesses. Yep. The real inconvenient truth is Jeffrey Skoll's scam. Yeah, very often they'll set up a not-for-profit and a for-profit alongside each other that kind of feed off each other. Mark P. Thickout. Just like Russ, I was radicalized when I got older and was exposed to new literature and company. I am now 50 plus and a comfortable socialist. I don't know what that translates to, but you know what?
There we go.
We're going to do the thing. Cray. If people haven't seen Tim Dillon's latest head in a fryer bit yet, read Clinton's testifying against Trump. It's a must watch. Yeah, he's great, man. Shai Guevara, Boris Nikolic, current Biomatics Capital, former advisor for Bill Gates at Gates Foundation, has lab at Harvard. Thank you, Shai Guevara. Our audience knows everything. Without Bound Snow, now that we know Epstein is alive, he can finally go on Rogan.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right,
good
everybody.
review.
Thanks very much.
All right. I did an intermission tonight that has the Bongino video I've been holding for like 3 weeks.
All right. Very cool. DoDissonance.com/Rumble. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to go to the Q&A. Everybody who's not staying for the Q&A, we will see you back here Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Enjoy the game. Go Seahawks. Mandatory. Everybody's got to root for the Seahawks tonight. If you're sticking around, we'll see you in 5 minutes. If not, we'll see you Tuesday. Thanks to the YouTubers, the Rumblers. Thanks to Jake in the booth. Thanks to the mods for keeping the peace in the chat. And we will see you all Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. or else we'll see you in 5 minutes over on Rumble. There's the link. We'll see you soon. Thanks very much for being here today. Be safe and be well.
Courage!
Please clap.